You don't know who he is until he's not aroused. Men will tell you virtually anything you want to hear when they're horned up, from lying about who they are to pretending they want the same thing as you. Then he climaxes and poof, it's like a different person. And the most painful part about the switch up is that if you would have known who he actually was going to be after he was aroused, you would have probably never given him access to your body in the first place. The only way to prevent that switch up from being so devastating is if you could build a strategy to better understand the person he will be when he's not aroused anymore, which is exactly why I'm having this lesson today. By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly what to look for, what to ask, and what to observe, so you're never surprised by the person he ends up being when he's no longer aroused. And make sure to submit your personal relationship questions to me so I can answer them at the end of the show live on stream. You can submit your questions via voice or text by submitting them through the link in my pinned comment or the link in my aroused. So let's get right into our point number one, okay? So for point number one, I want you to track both kinds of arousal, because there's physical arousal and then there's mental arousal. I know some of you are like, what is the mental arousal you're referring to? I'm referring to, this is why I say men are a lot like dogs. Men will have what I call shiny new toy syndrome, which is essentially when they're really, really excited about you, but they're mostly excited about you because you're brand new. They've never met you before. It's their first time seeing you. And it's like, wow, she's got the fattest of fat asses. She's got a beautiful face. But it's like, because he's seeing you and experiencing your aura and your presence for the first time, it makes it so overwhelmingly exciting that it's like, wow, she's shiny and new. She's brand new. Just like a dog will be super excited about a brand new toy or a shiny new toy. It's like all of a sudden, wow, this is the greatest thing on earth. I can't believe how amazing this thing is. And so you want to be aware of that. And unfortunately, this is going to sound kind of sad, you also want to be aware of the fact that most of the excitement is not necessarily coming from actually being excited about you, although it can happen. I'm not saying that no man will ever be excited to meet you. But what I want to say is a lot of the excitement is heavily weighted on the fact that you are so new, and new specifically to him, that he expresses a lot of his desire to want you, want to be with you, want to be around you, thinking that you're the person for him. A lot of that desire really is most heavily weighted in the fact that you are so brand new that it's very easy to be excited, and in that excitement convince himself that he really desires you, really wants the same things as you, really wants to marry you and be in a relationship with you. And so some of these men even convince themselves that they want these things and believe these things and desire these things, when a lot of that is really just stemming from the excitement of you being so new, okay? We on the same page so far? Now, let's go into our second point, which is I want you to understand that it is human nature to be excited about shiny new toys. And I want to give you an example of life where you've probably experienced that before. Let's imagine you work in the corporate world. I know some of you actually have, but I'm going to explain to you what it's like to work in the corporate world for those of you who have never worked in the corporate world. In the corporate world, what will happen is you'll usually have an office or you'll have a cubicle, and there'll be a bunch of other desks and offices and cubicles around you. And so naturally you'll get used to having conversation with the same type of people. You'll maybe befriend a couple of people. Some girls will be on the same page as you, like-minded as you. Some other people, maybe not. They're a little bit older. Some are a little bit younger. But what will happen is you'll start to create like a company culture, and everyone will start to get used to each other. My point though with shiny new toy syndrome, and this happens to both men and women, is what you'll notice is if you've been in that office, let's say for a while, and you've been used to interacting with someone, and there's a new girl that comes into the office, everyone is like, oh my God, it's the new girl, it's the new hire. Everyone's wanting to ask her questions. Everyone wanted to get her coffee. Everyone, oh, where are you from? Oh, let's go out to lunch. Let's do this. And it's like there's a whole bunch of buzz and excitement around the office for the new girl because she's brand new, right? It can even happen to the new guy. It's the new hire, right? And if you've ever been the new hire at a company, you know this to be true from the opposite perspective, which is when you come in to a situation where everyone's been there for a while and everyone's used to each other, everyone's like, oh my God, you're so amazing, Samantha. Oh, your hair, I love your hair. Oh my God, your outfit is stunning, girl. Look at how those jeans fit on you. You are gorgeous. Where are you from? Did you drop down from heaven, babe? And it's like everyone is really, really excited to be around you and speak to you. And you feel like you're the best thing since sliced bread. You feel like you're really, really special and really important. And then as the weeks and the months go by, you start to realize that it really isn't about the fact that you are so gorgeous, it's like you fell down from the sky. It's the initial excitement of the fact that you are so brand new. You bring a new sense of energy and fresh air to the community and the culture of the office. And so everyone gets taken aback by that. And even the way that they interact with you feels like they really like you and feels like they really desire you and want to spend time with you. But a lot of that stems from the fact that they're so excited that you're new that it feels like they desire you. And the reason I want to bring that up is because I don't want you to think this is something that men do maliciously because they're just out to get you and be mean-spirited people. It's because it's natural human nature to be excited about new things and specifically new people. But I want you to be able to understand that so that you're not getting overly excited about that. Are we on the same page so far? Okay. Does that make sense? Someone said, Tom, this is so true. Any of those of you that have been in the corporate world know exactly what I'm referring to, which I would assume most of you have at some point worked in the corporate world. Even if you're not in an office, right? It still applies to most places where you're interacting with people for your job. Okay. So let's go to our third point here, which is to keep your head at the start. The reason I bring this up is because for you, it can also be very exciting to feel like he's really excited about me. He really wants to be with me. He really wants to be in a relationship with me. And you can start to mirror his excitement because it's hard to not be really excited about meeting someone who's really excited about meeting you. And it's hard to not want to desire someone who's really seeming like they really desire you. But you have to calm yourself down. And this is why I say it's so important to understand how to validate yourself on a consistent basis, because can be actually a really dangerous problem. If you don't practice the art of validating yourself and keeping yourself more even-keeled, this process can really mess with you. Where at the beginning, people are really, really excited to see you and be around you, and including, especially the men. And when they're dating you, you can imagine the emotional roller coaster it will take you on when someone seems really, really excited to see you and be around you initially. And then all of a sudden, as time goes on, that excitement dwindles away. If you're allowing yourself to experience a lot of your validation through that excitement, it will take you on an emotional roller coaster, because when they're really excited about you, you'll also be really excited because you'll feel really good about yourself. You're validating yourself through their excitement. Remember though, shiny new toy syndrome eventually wears off. So as you're validating yourself through their excitement and you're really feeling good about yourself, now when their excitement dwindles down and you're no longer shiny and new, so they're no longer super excited about you and it doesn't seem or feel like they desire you as much, now all of a sudden your sense of self-validation and self-worth goes down the drain. Because you feel like, well, I was validating myself through your excitement. Now that you're way less excited about me, I feel way worse about myself, which is why you must stay grounded and keep yourself validated and not allow this validation that will come and go to affect you drastically. Okay? Does that make sense? Right? Hope we're on the same page there. Now, for our fourth point, okay? You want to make sure that you don't fall into the trap of liking a man simply because of how much he likes you. Now, let me be very clear. I am not against the idea of liking a man because of how he takes action for you in the relationship. A man who's consistent with you, a man who's romantic with you, taking you on dates, providing for you, protecting you. All of those things are perfectly fine that you say, I like you more because you take those actions. But what I don't want is I don't want it to go into the extreme where it's like, oh, he's complimenting me. He's telling me how much he loves me. He's telling me how amazing I am. He's like over the top with his worshiping of me and just making me feel like a complete goddess. That again, that can become toxic because it's taking your ego through the roof. And it's less about him, the man, or the relationship with him, and it's more about how your ego is just exploding when you're around him or when you're in a relationship with him. And so at this point, what you might think is good because he's like worshiping you can actually turn very harmful, because imagine a guy can then theoretically control you by assuming, okay, if you respond positively to feeling like I'm worshiping you if I put on the mask very early on that I'm worshiping you as the goddess you are, and it fills and inflates your ego so much that you're now blinded by everything else going on. Well, then I can use that as a way to control you and control what you feel and what you see from me. Put that mask on, keep that mask on. You're really excited. Your ego's super inflated and through the roof. Now I can get off on you, meaning I can extract what I want from you because you're so ego inflated and so excited that you think I'm worshiping you. And then once I finish getting what I want from you, I can go back to how I really feel, which is not worshiping you. And I really just use that worshiping as a vessel to get you overly excited and to kind of get you to be off balance and not have a foundation. Because remember, if I'm taking you on this emotional roller coaster and you're so blinded by how amazing your ego feels because of how much I'm worshiping you, well, then that becomes a mechanism of control. That's the reality, okay? This is why I say I try to, as much as possible, to keep you even keeled in your relationships, because I know that if you allow the men and the way they react or respond to you to become too much of an influence on how you feel, they will be able to control you through that. That's just the reality, okay, right? So instead, watching this and thinking retrospectively, that's what'll be happening. But it's okay. Then you'll learn for the future, all right? Now, I want you to understand this process here for point number 5. Realize he projects onto you, which is why I say you don't know a guy until he's no longer aroused. When you're really shiny and you're really new, and then that shiny newness wears off, it's very easy for him to like you when he doesn't know you. It's very easy for him to like you when you're brand new. As he gets to know you, obviously the excitement wears off because you're no longer brand new, but also he gets to know you a little bit more, right? A lot of the times he's projecting this really perfect fantasy of who you are and what you're about on you when you're brand new. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not saying that as soon as a guy actually gets to know you, he'll immediately think that you're the worst thing ever, and he'll immediately think of you as unattractive. That's not what I'm saying at all. There will be plenty of guys that will get to know you and they'll like you even more. What I'm saying though is, if a guy is so enamored by his excitement and he doesn't even understand how that excitement is affecting him and affecting the personality he shows you at the beginning, what you will be shocked by is how less excited he is, not just about the fact that, okay, you're no longer shiny and new, but how less excited he is about the person you are. How less excited he is. It's like, oh, I thought you were this way. Oh, you're not perfect. Oh, that's disappointing. And you're starting to feel like, well, your expectation of me was that I was perfect and I didn't make any mistakes and I don't fart and I don't go poop. Like, if that was your expectation of me, your excitement was never even real, because your excitement was based on something a human being can never be. Human beings are always gonna poop. Human beings are always gonna fart. So your expectation of me, or the projection of that you had in your mind, was always going to lead to disappointment, which was always going to lead to a sense of feeling differently or acting differently when you're no longer aroused, or AKA no longer excited, okay? Because the arousal can be excitement both physically and mentally, okay? Right? Sydney said they literally make up in their mind who they want me to be. Exactly. Now, this is where, right, for our next step, for point number 6, I want to help explain to you how you're going to combat this now that we kind of understand exactly what's going on here, okay? So you have to be hyper vigilant when asking him questions, because the questions are also going to lead to observations. The observations are going to be the actions he's either taking or not taking, which is going to give you a lot of context as to who is this guy actually, not just who does this guy present himself to be when he's aroused, okay? So when you're asking these questions, I'm going to get into exactly how you're going to ask them and exactly how you're going to do this so that he can't lie to you, or it's very difficult to lie to you. But what I want you to understand is that the men that you are talking to, especially when you're trying to gather information from them, will tend to try and agree with you more often than not. Because what they understand is the more that they agree with you, the easier it will be to get access to you. So we have to breathe this in, accept this reality. When men are aroused, when men are really excited to meet me, when they're like, a shiny new toy syndrome, when their tail is wagging, right? And they're really, really hyped up about getting to know me because everything is brand new, they will naturally want to agree with me in basically anything that I say, okay? If you say, oh, I think the sky is looking purple today, when he's really aroused, he's gonna say, you know what? Now that you mention it, I'm seeing a little bit of a purple tinge in the sky. You have a really good eye, right? If you, like anything that you say, he's going to naturally want to agree with, because in his mind, the more he agrees with you, the more that you feel that the two of you are in alignment. The more that you feel that the two of you are in alignment, the easier it will be for him to align himself inside of you. So you want to understand the natural disposition of the men that really like you, really desire you, and their tail is wagging for you. They're going to want to agree with basically anything that you say. So you have to be cognizant about what you share, especially what you share without getting the context, I should say, without receiving the context of exactly how he actually feels, void of what you want or what you feel. Okay? I see Akaya says, what type of questions? We're going to get into that, okay? Now, for our next point, I'm going to give you an example of the boy, girl, boy trap so you can understand how this works in reality when you're actually on a date or when you're getting to know a guy, okay? So an example of how men will naturally want to just agree with you on anything you say or mirror your behavior or mirror your desires is, let's say for the sake of example, you tell a guy, oh, I really want marriage and I would love to, get married and all this other stuff, right? So you're saying, I want marriage. Marriage is really important to me. I think, it solidifies commitment in a relationship and it represents all the morals and values that I have. And he's like, you know what? I feel the same way as you, girl. Like, marriage is important. Like, you wouldn't believe how important marriage is. Yeah, the commitment, the bond, the me and you forever vibe. And then you're like, yeah, so same, right? Yeah. And I also feel like I really, really want children. Children are really important to me. And he's like, yeah, children for sure. Children solidifies the bond and the relationship you have, and you grow your children. They're like seeds, children. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, good, yeah. Also, I would like to have specifically like 3 children in the order boy, girl, boy. That's the desired, order of children that I want to have the 3 in, because 3 is like a perfect number. Yeah, me too. 3 is an absolute. It's just so perfect of a number. And the boy and the girl and the boy and the girl. It's just like the way that it just goes. The boy first, the girl second. Oh, they can protect each. Yeah, I agree so much. Let me explain to you why this is dangerous, and when you hear this, why you should be suspicious of this, right? Because even though I'm exaggerating it a little bit, so it's really obvious that like that person is obviously just saying the same thing as you. When you're on a date with a guy that you actually like, this won't feel as obvious. It will feel like the two of you are connecting. This is why it's dangerous. When you're saying it, you're already excited to talk to a guy that you already like. You're attracted to him. He's probably your type. He's a little bit charming. So when he's mirroring you and basically just repeating back to you what you already said, sometimes it doesn't come directly after what you just said. So in the example that I gave, of course I said, I want to get married, and then he's repeating back, I want to get married too. But it doesn't necessarily always come in that order. Sometimes it comes in the order of, you might say things in the first hour of a date, and then in the last hour of a date, he's repeating those things back to you. It might come, you might say things on the first couple of days of getting to know him, and then later on in the relationship, he starts repeating those things back to you on your very first date or your second or third date, right? And this is why you have to be mindful of what information about me and my desires and the things that I want does he already have? Because if he already has that information and then randomly, casually in conversation, he ends up repeating back to me basically exactly what I've already delivered to him, well, that's an example of how men in their arousal state will naturally want to agree with you and regurgitate information that you've already given them back to you so that you naturally feel like, oh, this is your real personality. Are we on the same page here, right? Now, I know some of you are going to say, how do I combat this? Because I know that that's going to happen, and you're very right, Tomisin, but what am I supposed to actually do about that? So for point number 8, you ask why, then you say nothing. And I know, so you ask why. What do you mean by asking why? The easiest way to spot how real someone is about a statement that they made, especially as it relates to something that they desire for themselves or don't desire, you ask them, what was the thought process behind the decision that you made, or coming to the conclusion that this is the best choice for your life? Anytime you ask someone their thought process, they're going to be forced to walk you through how they considered other options, they considered other possibilities, but they thought based on who they were, based on their own needs, wishes of life, their own experiences, why they felt like this was the best decision for their own life. Chances are, when a man is just trying to mirror your personality or tending to agree with you because he's really excited to get inside you, when you ask him his thought process, he will tend to either be stumped or be very vague in his explanation of his thought process, which is why it's amazing. Thought process requires actual thought ahead of time. And it's very easy to explain to someone your thought process when you've actually been thinking about the reasons you want those things. For example, let's use the marriage, the children, and the 3 children, boy, girl, boy, okay? So I want to get married because I think it's really important to have commitment between 2 people in a relationship and to have support. Mind you, this is information he's giving you void of the context of what you want. Let's imagine though. And he's like, yeah, so marriage is like the emotional support and being able to have someone that's by your side and you motivate them and they motivate you and you inspire each other. And as individuals, you grow, but together you also grow. And then you raise a family and you give them the things that maybe you never had as a child. And then the reason I feel like 3 children are a perfect number of children is because when you have the boy first, the boy can be protective of the girl. And, you know, sometimes the girls will go through things. And then also as the father, you can have your boys raised to make sure that they value their women and all this other stuff. Let's just say he goes into a bunch of detail, right? You'll be able to understand, okay, clearly the amount of detail you're going in about this marriage, the children, the order of the children, you've obviously thought about it at least somewhat ahead of time because you're not making vague statements that seem like someone who's trying to just think on the spot and make up, you know, whatever it is that you're trying to say. And it'll be really obvious to you when someone has to walk you through their thought process really in anything, but especially as it relates to their desires, they should be able to walk you through that process very clearly. If they're confused, if they're stuttering, if they're trying to find the words or, oh, you know, it's hard to explain, they're most likely lying, right? Walking someone through your thought process is as simple as remembering the reason you wanted that thing and then walking them through how you made that decision. Not super complicated, only complicated if you were lying initially. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Now, just like I mentioned before, they walk you through the thought process. For point number 9, you listen specifically for vague answers. So for example, if we're talking about marriage and children, if he's like, yeah, you know, the reason I want marriage is, you know, marriage is just great. You know, you see some people and they're married and they're just living great lives. It's great. You know, children is awesome. And when you have a children that gets birthed by you, they like have your DNA. So it's great. It's like having someone with your DNA. Okay. So do you see how in someone's answer, when they're walking you through a thought process, it can be so vague. You're like, are you making this up like right now? Like, are you making this up on the spot? And once you start to get that feeling of, no, that's probably not how you actually feel, or you clearly haven't even thought this through, more than likely what's happening is either, whether we want to say he's intentionally or unintentionally just agreeing with you because of his level of arousal and desire and excitement for you, either way, that is the time where you recognize, okay, clearly this person doesn't actually want that thing. They're either trying to mirror me because I've already said that thing, and so they want to say that they want the same thing, or they're trying to anticipate what they believe that I want. So they're trying to give me information about their own desires based on what they believe my desires will be. But they end up coming out so vague because, again, people might be prepared for the question of marriage. People might be even prepared for the question of children, but they're usually not prepared for the question of walk me through the thought process on how you came to that decision. It's a much more deeper and complex question that people just generally don't anticipate. And trust me, I know some of you have this irrational fear that, what if the men watch your video and they find out our tactics and then they find out a way to combat? Trust me, we don't have that problem, okay? The men aren't clicking on my video to study the things that I teach you to then figure out how they're going to combat. Trust me, they don't care that much. They care about video games, GTA 6, they care about whacking themselves off, and all the things that we're not talking about on the show, okay? Don't worry yourself about that. The tactics will stay firm and will stay good for you in the future. Are we on the same page so far? Why is this so hard to open? Are we on the same page so far? Someone said, ooh, sneaky, super sneaky. It is sneaky, isn't it? Okay, let's hop into our next point here, okay? So now, this is gonna sound kind of weird. The other part about when men are aroused that will change a lot after they become no longer aroused is you must expect that he will lie about who he is. Okay? Listen, I get it. It sucks to hear, but the reality of it is when men are really excited about you and you're shiny and new, he will be like, okay, how do I present the version of myself that I believe will be sound better and be more palatable to her and maybe even make her exciting? Let me use an example here, which is on the screen. Let's say for the sake of example, he's an Uber driver. That's what he really does for work. But instead of telling you that he is an Uber driver, because obviously that's not very exciting, that's not very fun, and he knows that's probably not gonna get you very lubricated. So he says, I'm not an Uber driver, I'm actually a limousine operations manager for very important people, and I oversee the operations of the limousine service that I operate. When you're on a date with a guy, limousine operational manager, he making money, he got his life together, but he's an Uber driver, okay? These guys, when they're excited though, they understand lying about who they are is beneficial to them to get closer to what it is that they want. You have to anticipate, I'm not saying that, you believe that every man is lying to you, but just anticipate that some men in the process of their arousal, their excitement, will change the meaning or change the definitions of who they are and specifically what they do as well to fit what they believe will be more exciting to you, because again, in their excitement of you and their excitement to be with you, they want to maximize their chances of being with you and being inside you. They understand, because they're not idiots, they understand that maximizing their chances of being with you while they're aroused for you and excited for you also means making sure they position themselves as a person who is more than likely going to be able to get access to you. They understand inherently, if you have a beautiful face and a fat booty, that you're probably not going to be very excited about him being an Uber driver, because there will be many men on your line who do much greater and better things. So he needs to dress up the person that he is to be a lot more palatable and digestible to you and even exciting to you, because you feel like, wow, he could actually be the one. Look, he's got his life together. So naturally, for our next step, you're going to feel like, okay, so what am I supposed to do about that? If he tells me he's a limousine operations manager, how am I supposed to actually sniff that out? For point number 11, you make him name his week. When I say name his week, I want you to force him to walk you through what his responsibilities are on a daily and weekly basis. So you're literally going to ask him when he tells you, I'm a limousine operations manager for very important people. Oh, is that so? So, since you're a limousine operations manager for very important people, walk me through, because I'm naive. I don't know too much about too much. This is why it's amazing to play dumb sometimes. I don't really know too much about that industry. Walk me through. What are your daily and weekly responsibilities as a limousine operations manager? I would love to hear details about what you do on a daily and weekly basis. You can start now. The floor is yours. It gets very scary, very fast for men when they weren't expecting it to get this far. I know you're thinking, did this man think I was an idiot that I would never find out what his actual job was? Yes. Yes, he did. He thought he would at least be able to get away with it long enough for him to get access to you. You start liking him. Maybe he gets to be able to sleep with you. But at some point, maybe when you find out, maybe you're like already invested or he's already been able to sleep with you, and it's like, it's too late now. Too bad. So what you do at this point, when you ask him this question, sit back, relax, don't add anything, don't interject, let him talk. Again, just like the question where I said sniff him out by asking him his thought process so he can't marry you, this question will completely catch them off guard. They'll be like, daily, weekly responsibilities. So, I wake up at 9 a.m. and I'm on my laptop, topping that from my company, and I call the other operations managers. There's a lot of operations managers, and we go through the process of the schedule for the day in the week for the important people that we're transport. And he's gonna be like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, thinking about okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you just sit back, even when you're hearing him, you're like, okay, this sounds like bullshit, sounds like you're making it up on the spot. I want you to just, okay, oh, interesting, that's what tell me more about that. Okay, so that's what okay, so after 9 a.m., okay, what about 10 to 12? Okay, and then when is your lunch break usually? Okay, when do you end usually? Oh, is it a Monday to Friday thing? Do you ever work on the weekends? Is it shift work? How do you usually, is it salary? Oh, how'd you get that job? Or what position are you? Do you work your way up? Oh, you start entry level? Like, ask him. He has to name his week. He has to name his schedule. He has to name his responsibilities. He has to name how he moved up and down in the company and what his new goals are and how long he's been working there and all this other stuff. On top of the fact, if he's lying, he's really, like, when we're talking about the only people at that point that can keep up the lie will have to think so quick on their feet. It's almost to the point where, like, you have to be an expert at lying to even be able to keep this up, because it's so hard to anticipate anyone even asking you these type of questions. And then you're gonna be thinking on your feet, and even if, because I know some of you are like, what if he's a great liar? What if he's amazing at lying and amazing, and he thought it beforehand, and Tomisin, what if he already knew your tactic and it was perfect for him, he explained it perfectly and I couldn't sniff out the fact that he was lying about it? I got a strategy for that. I think of everything. Okay, for our next point. Now, this is the interesting part, right? And I want us to, let me even skip this slide here, because I want us to go right into this next slide, right? Let me see here, because I want to address this. Okay, we'll address it in this slide. It's fine, okay? So when you hear his own interest back, right? And let me even put this here. This is what I want you to do, because it's kind of like about this slide. The reason I'm deciding which slide I want to talk about it on is it has to do with this slide. And this is why it's amazing, okay? So we'll stay on this slide for now. When he has to name his week, okay, he will be forced to now tell you everything about his week, everything that's going on in his week, and all that he does, right? Which is great. Even if he's a great liar, I didn't make this a slide, but it should have been another slide. I'll tell you it right now. Even if he's a great liar, this is what is amazing that can happen now. He has now been forced into a corner. He's been forced to tell you exactly what he does and when he does it. Here's why this is amazing. Now that he's been forced to tell you exactly what he does and when he does it, you can use this against him. Because let's say, for the sake of example, now moving forward, let's say a week after he's told you that information of his daily and weekly responsibilities, you now ask him, okay, hey, so I was just wondering, you said that you wanted to hang out next week and stuff. Like, what are you doing today? Like, what's up today? What you got going on? You're having casual conversation with him. And he's like, oh, I'm just, playing GTA 6. This game's amazing. And it's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And you're like, wait a second. I thought he said he works Monday to Friday, and from Monday to Friday, he wakes up at 9 a.m. and he's running the operations, and then from 10 to 12, he's doing this, and from 2 to this time, he's doing that. And you're like, wait a second. He gave me his daily and weekly responsibilities. He told me exactly what he usually does and exactly what his typical schedule is. He's playing GTA 6 now on a Tuesday. Okay, don't say anything. Wednesday comes along. Oh, hey, what's up with you? Da-da-da-da-da. No response. Let's say it's 10 a.m. 12 p.m. he responds to you. Oh, what's going on? Like, did you just wake up or something? Yeah, I decided to sleep in today. Huh? Tuesday, 2 p.m., you're playing GTA 6. You're supposed to be at work. Wednesday, you wake up at 12 p.m. What happened to waking up at 9 a.m. and working on yourself as an operations manager? You see how when you get him to back himself into a corner by thinking on the fly and trying to really lie to you about whatever the weekly and daily schedule is and the responsibilities, now all of a sudden it doesn't make sense. He's locked himself in to that schedule. So if that's not his real schedule, gotcha. Right? You thought you were being slick. You thought you were going to get one off on me by pretending to be someone you're not, telling me you're a limousine's operation manager. Now I just found out what a limousine operations manager is supposed to do based on your definition. You made it up on the spot. Maybe you were good at lying, but I caught you because now you have to live in the lie in order to make it true. And unfortunately, what's going to be really hard to do is to live in the lie forever. Because if he really, really wants you, at that point, he's going to have to remember everything he said that one time on that one date. And he's going to have to live that out for the rest of the relationship to make it real and make it true. Otherwise, you're eventually going to catch him in the act, because naturally his schedule not being in alignment with that at all is going to tell you that all of that was untrue. Okay? Does that make sense? Right? Some of you are like, interesting. Okay, right? So now the other part that I wanted to kind of explain to you guys is about how interest will be another thing that men will tend to fake with you on their dates with you. And then when they're getting to know you, because they're super excited, because they're super aroused, and then they'll tend to switch this up afterwards. So when I say interest, I'm talking about, for example, let's say he's like, yeah, I'm super into cooking. I love cooking. Cooking's amazing. It's one of my biggest passions of all time. And you're like, great, you know, I love cooking as well. So quite convenient that you would be interested in the exact same thing that I'm interested in, but sure. And then you start to believe to yourself, okay, maybe me and this guy are more compatible because we share similar interests. Another tactic of the men when they're aroused, it's kind of a version of agreeing with you. It's kind of on that same branch of that tree, but it takes it a step further because he understands the more we can seem like we're compatible because we share the same interest, also the more likely I'll get access to her. Remember, he's really excited that you're shiny and new. And part of his excitement is making him feel like he desires you a lot. Within that desire, it will cause him to do things to be able to maximize his chances of being able to sleep with you and execute on that desire. Are we on the same page? Now, here's where the question becomes of how to combat that when a guy will try to mirror his similar interest, having the same interest as you do, okay? You have to, for example, let's say he's super into cooking. You have to ask him, okay, so since you're really into cooking and it's one of your biggest passions of all time, what do you love to cook? Why do you love to cook? Name me your favorite dishes of all time and why they're your favorite dishes. Oh, you know, when it comes to cooking, I love cooking pancakes and eggs. You know, my favorite dishes of all time, you know, you can never go wrong with a good macaroni and cheese or a good grilled cheese. You know, cheese is delicious. All types of cheese, yellow cheese, white cheese, cheese on cheese, assorted cheese. You see how just like asking the thought process, just like asking the daily and weekly responsibilities, it becomes very obvious when you dig a little bit deeper, you don't really feel that way, okay? You're trying to present yourself as someone you aren't. If I was, you know, not as skilled or versed in relationships, maybe I wasn't watching Tomisin and his show, then maybe I would believe you when you tell me you love cooking just like me. But because I have more experience, because I watched Tomisin's show, I know to go deeper and ask you questions that you probably didn't anticipate I would actually ask you, and leave you to out to dry to basically walk yourself on a ledge and have to explain why, if this is truly your interest, why is this your interest? Tell me more about this thing that you seem to be so passionate about. Because I know I'm passionate about it, and I know all the dishes names. I know that Alfredo fettuccine, I know how to cook it. I know that, like, you don't even use the same terminologies, right? Easy way to sniff out, if someone has the same interests as you, same passions as you, they will usually use the same terminologies or the terminologies of that interest or that passion or that industry if they really share that interest with you, right? If they don't use the similar terminologies and they're using terminologies of someone who would be a beginner or someone who really doesn't know about that world, again, very easy to sniff out. You'll be hearing it and you'll be like, something sounds off about the way you're talking about this. You're talking about it as if you watched a single YouTube video on it, as opposed to being actually in that world. Are we on the same page so far? Right? Thumbs up if we're on the same page so far. Gotta push past eggs and pancakes. and grilled cheese and macaroni, okay? Now, we're gonna start getting into some adult themes here, okay? Now, we do have to discuss sexting and something to be aware of because we are talking about arousal both in the mental and the physical sense. So when we talk about the physical arousal, I want you to be aware of how long it takes him to reply to you when you're talking about sex, and how long and how fast he responds to you when you're talking about basically anything else. What will happen, and I've helped women with this, so I know it happens, is oftentimes when a guy is going to do it, I'm just going to be real with you. When a guy's going to do a switch up on you after he has sex with you, one of the clearest signs is that whenever you're sexting with him, the responses are like within 5 minutes and they're very detailed responses. The communication style when you're sexting with him is like, damn, he must be literally like stay on his phone. He must not even close the chat out, right? You might have guys that you message and they message you back so fast when you're sexting them that it feels like they're not even putting their phone down. Like they're just holding the chat open and they're messaging you back as soon as you send your own sext. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? So be aware of, I'm not saying it's wrong for him to message you back fast when you're sexting. What I'm saying is be aware of the difference in the speed in which he's replying when you're sexting him versus the speed in which he's replying when you're not sexting him, or you're talking about real life, or you're talking about your job or your family or whatever the case may be that is just not about sex or sexual conversation. Someone says doesn't even close the chat. It be happening. I literally got a question about that the other week about someone saying this man would message me on Snapchat. He wouldn't even want me to close the chat out. He wanted my emoji to stay up because he wanted to make sure that I'm still on the chat while we talk about sex. He would literally message me and make sure that I don't close it out. Someone said professional coding. Let's go to our next point, okay? So be aware of how he also interacts with you when you talk about anything outside of sex. I know it sounds silly, but honestly, pay attention to this because this will also give you a sign of whether the excitement for you and about you is really about him wanting to be with you versus being excited and aroused about the possibility of being able to sleep with you. Because what will happen is, just like I said, be mindful of the time in which it takes him to reply. In this sense, but be mindful of the amount of energy he puts into his responses and how much it seems like he cares about this conversation. You ever been texting someone, right? Or on the phone with someone, or even on FaceTime or in person with someone, and you can just tell based on the topic of the conversation whether or not that person is actually interested in that conversation, right? It's like you kind of know, you get a sixth sense when you can read people of these topics you're really invested in. When we talk about these topics, you're excited, you got a lot of energy, you have a lot to say, you're interjecting opinions, you're just filled with life. I can tell it brings you life. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, when we're talking about these other topics that may not be as fun or may not be exciting for you, I can tell you're a little bit more detached. I'm doing majority of the talking, your responses are a little bit more drier, and even when you do respond, it's kind of like, oh, can we move on and can we talk about something else, right? So when you get that feeling from guys in your conversation with them, whether you're texting them, calling them, FaceTime, and even in person, that should also clue you in. He only seems really, really invested in the conversation when we're talking about sex. When we're talking about sex or we're sexting, now all of a sudden his paragraphs are really, really long. Now all of a sudden he's like telling me about this and he's telling me about that and he's adding things to it and he's follow-up messages and this and that, right? If we're talking about family, if we're talking about life, if we're talking about bills, if we're talking about logistics, all of a sudden the message thread goes down. You know, what used to be a whole bunch of blue is now very little blue. And it's mostly me talking and mostly me asking questions and mostly me leading the conversation. Be hyper aware and hyper vigilant about that, okay? Now, let's hop into, oh, what the hell? Why is that going to the next thing? Now, let's talk about, for point number 16, the affection switch, which should be fairly obvious to you, but sometimes it might not be until you actually have sex. I want to talk about the affection switch even before you have sex with him. Because what will happen is, it's not just about, oh, how does he change, right? When he after he has sex with me? Is he cuddling me after sex or not? Because by the time you have sex, it's kind of already over. You should also be aware of, even before you have sex with him, how excited or not excited is he, or how much affection or lack of affection does he show me when he feels like sex is on the horizon, or sex is a possibility, or sexual gratification in any sense is a possibility. For example, maybe it's not sleeping with you, maybe it's the possibility of getting head, or getting a, can I even say these words? Getting a handy, right? Or the possibility of you guys groping each other, or just doing something sexual in nature. And you feeling like, when he thinks that this is coming, maybe we're gonna be in a private room together, in a private place together, he seems like he's really, really affectionate, really, really touchy. If for whatever reason I tell him, let's say I'm on my period, or I'm just not available for me to go back to his place tonight, or whatever the case may be, if you notice that anytime sex is kind of taken off the table, or sexual gratification is taken off the table, you notice a change in his affection. Oh, he's kissing up on me when he thinks I'm gonna come back to his place after this. As soon as I tell him that I'm legitimately going home, no more kissing, no more touching. He's no longer really affectionate and handsy with me like he was when he thought he was about to walk into sex, right? Or the possibility of having sex or sexual gratification. Take notice of that. It's another example of how men are guaranteed, if he's already doing that in the small ways before you ever have sex, imagine what will happen when you finally have sex and he's no longer aroused, or when you're no longer shiny and new. All of a sudden, the affection will go away, because the affection wasn't tied to you and how he feels about you. The affection was tied to the possibility of sex being on the horizon. Are we on the same page? Okay. Now, let's go to our next point, which is decide on the not aroused him. When you start observing these things that I'm talking about, you have to start making decisions of, based on what I'm observing from him, because trust me, the signs will be there. Based on what I'm observing from him when he's not aroused, or I'm not shiny and new anymore, or the situations in which sex is not on the horizon, do I want to be with the person he actually is when he's not thinking about sex, or when the conversation isn't sexual, or when he's not focused on that, or when he's not super excited about the fact that I'm brand new? Do I still want to be with the version of him I received then? That's a conversation that you must have with yourself, and you must analyze when that excitement dwindles down or isn't as much as it was at the beginning. Do I still like the way he's presenting himself to me? Okay, right? Akia says, why can't you leave? Of course you can leave. That's always an option. I'm just telling you, in terms of evaluating how you feel, there's a process of, there might be some cases where he's consistent with you and what you notice from him isn't drastically different. That's also a positive, right? I'm just saying in terms of what you notice from him, if you're noticing that drastic shift, okay? Right? So for our next point here, okay? Now, I know it's kind of a tough pill to swallow. You must know that the version of him, that the way he acts when he's not aroused, has always been there. Don't deny it. It's always present. It's just after you sleep with him, it becomes a lot more obvious. I know some of us think, oh, well, men are so good at putting on the mask. Sure, theoretically, but even sometimes the mask can slip off, especially when you're skilled and versed in your understanding of relationships. You know how to ask questions that require context, thinking, and understanding. You know how to observe situations and force people into a corner to reveal to you the truth, even if they're attempting to lie to you, right? So my point being is that the signs are always going to be there. It's just a matter of extracting that information to see, what is it going to be like, or what is our relationship going to be like, or how are you going to treat me, or how are you going to go about this when you're no longer aroused, both physically and mentally, in the sense of being excited about me being a shiny new toy. Okay, right? Now, for our 19th point, separate sex from wanting you. Separate your understanding of the fact that when a man desires you, it's different from when a man wants to sleep with you. I'm not saying that the men that desire you can't also want to sleep with you. I'm not saying that that's even a crime that he wants to sleep with you. What I'm saying, though, is through this process, remember, I'm talking about both physical arousal and mental arousal. Detach yourself from the feeling that just because a man seems to be very excited about you at the beginning and seems to be very excited about getting to know you at the beginning, detach yourself from the reality that that might not necessarily mean he's actually excited about me, the person, which is okay. Part of your evaluation process, and this is why I say you have to stay even keeled, is evaluating, is the desire about a desire to actually be with me, or a desire based on his excitement at the possibility of getting access to me because I am so new. Okay, right? And lastly, what you want to do for this point, you have to watch him build what he said through your observations, through the questions that you ask, and through the things that you kind of present to him, where you say, okay, I'm presenting this to you, you're going to give me information, and then I'm going to evaluate that information over the course of time and see if those things line up. You will watch him either build on what he said, and you'll watch him, when he's both aroused and when he's not aroused, there's consistency there. And so you're not noticing a drastic switch. And there will be points where you start to notice that switch based on all the examples that I gave earlier. And it becomes very clear to you, okay, this man, I already know he's about to do a switch up because I'm noticing the mask slip off and I'm noticing the trends in the instances in which I know a man will naturally do a switch up eventually when he's no longer aroused, because I'm seeing that even in small ways before we even get to the point where he gets access to my body, okay? Now, do any of you have any questions about the things that we just discussed here on today's show, on today's lesson, okay? I will answer any questions about this lesson before we head into our next segment, which is the React segment. Okay. K says, looked through my ex's phone and saw him begging a girl in his country to send him naked pics so he can lust over her body. She responded by saying she thought he had her body committed to memoir. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means, Ka. That sounds like an interesting, strange situation. By the way, for those of you who have like a kind of like a detailed situation that you want me to answer, put your question in the link in my description or the link in my pinned comment. You can submit it for free. By the way, I need to mention that when I'm answering your personal relationship questions at the end of the show, it is a free submission. So don't think, oh, if I click on that link, am I gonna have to pay something? No, asking your question on the show is completely free. Now, of course, it will be presented to everyone. So we're gonna read it out and listen to it live on the show, but it is free, okay? Justice says, how long does it take for the shiny new toy syndrome to wear off for men? Well, that's kind of like a relative thing. I don't want to give a definitive, oh, well, it takes 2 weeks or it takes da-da-da-da-da. What I do find, though, naturally, through the ebbs and flows of a relationship, you will tend to see the realer side of a man's personality around that 2 to 3 month mark. You know how usually you'll get into a situationship and after 2 to 3 months, it usually falls apart? That's mostly because what you experience from a guy in that first 2 to 3 months, right? The first 2 months is usually not represented. Once you get around that 2 to 3rd month, you'll start to see the mask really slip off, because there's been enough time for you guys to be around each other where the excitement has really worn off and you're no longer shiny and new. It's a general statement, but of course it won't be like, hard and fast for every single person you'll ever meet, okay? Sydney says, if he doesn't match what you want, leave early or you'll be trapped. Precisely. The key to all of this is detaching from the outcome. Someone just want to be loved, so endure so much unnecessary abuse. Exactly, which is why I always talk to you all about being even keeled, right? It's not about living on any one extreme, because when you live on any extreme, that actually becomes a mechanism to control you. When you're like, I only want to date a man who's rich and makes money and is a multimillionaire and will spend that money fast, that will be a mechanism to take control of you, right? And to get one over on you, because they'll pretend to be that. You'll let your guard down. They'll take advantage of you from there, right? Whatever it is, don't go on an extreme about it. I want you to stay even keeled, okay? Committed to memory, I confronted him about it, and he claims he never had sex with her. Should I believe that? Ka, ask your question in my pinned comment. Remember, it's free. You can explain everything about your context. You can even give a voice message to explain the whole context so I can answer it properly, because I feel like your question requires context and it's harder for you to provide the context in the chat here, okay? Let's hop right into our next segment. Okay, this is very exciting, okay? Our next segment is our reaction segment. So let me pull this up right here and let me get rid of this on the screen. Our reaction segment is where I react to at least one, either, full video or TikTok. We've been doing YouTube videos, but I react to something, we have a conversation about it, and it's a good time, okay? Because what we can do is we can learn from other people's situations and other people's possible mistakes, and basically use that information to say, okay, how can we get better results in our own relationships? It's not about judging other people. It's about understanding what they've been through to maybe learn from that and not have to go through that ourselves, right? That's part of gaining experience about relationships and as it relates to relationships, okay? So this comes from Gigi Beauty. She made a video titled, I Am Getting a Divorce. So we're gonna listen to this together and we're gonna see if we can pick some clues up about relationships and how we wanna go about them to make sure that we might not experience the same thing that she experienced, okay?
Alexa, play Love is Wicked. Love, truly, is wicked. No, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. There's gonna be a mix of emotions. You'll see me up, you'll see me down in this video. We'll see, I don't know yet. I don't even know this about me, because one thing about me and my family, we take anything traumatic, anything sad, anything depressing, and we switch it over and we turn it into a joke. Because if you don't laugh, you will what?
You'll cry.
You'll cry. Yeah, just in case you don't know my personality traits, that's just how I cope. And it's working! Okay, so all jokes aside, I've honestly gone back and forth with myself about filming this video, because if you know me throughout the years, this is not my type of video to do, ever. And to be honest, I didn't know when the right time would have been to announce this, but I feel like it is now the right time. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna keep very silent. I was gonna go through this process alone. The other day I was watching a video of a recent YouTuber slash influencer, and she was telling about her trauma, her past, about things that were real to people, things that people could relate to, and it really encouraged me to tell my story and share with you guys, because I have a lot of women followers. I have a lot of young girls following me, I have a lot of mothers following me, and if I could help just one person from telling my story and encouraging women that everything is going to be okay, even when you feel like your whole life has like come to a halt and crashed down, then trust me when I say this, everything is going to be okay. And I'm telling myself this too. And another thing, you have followed my life from when Amelia was like 9 months old. She is now 11 in May. So it's been over a decade. I just wanted to come on here and be honest with you. So we're gonna do a get ready with me. We're gonna do a get ready with me because makeup is therapy. And yeah, makeup makes me happy. So that's what we're gonna do. So before diving in, I'm just gonna go in with some primer. I don't know what kind of look I'm gonna go for today. So I'm using the iconic Velvet Smooth Pore Fining Primer. And if you've got big pores like me, this is the perfect primer, I'll tell you that, mate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm gonna go in with this. I did a bit too much. Ooh. Okay, so sorry if I'm not looking directly in the camera. I'm not like, I can't do two things at once. This is why I don't do talk through get ready with me, it's because yeah, but my mirror's right here, so just bear with me. I'm gonna go in with two foundations today. This is the NARS Light Flexing Foundation, and then this is the Maybelline. This is one of my favorites, and the shade is a bit light, but when I mix it together, I think it will be my winter shade. So yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. I've been holding this off. Oh my gosh, just saying the words makes it feel so real. Okay, so bear with me guys, I'm actually so nervous. So my marriage has ended and I'm officially, which I've never wanted to say in my life, a single mum of two. I didn't want these words to utter out of my mouth at all. I don't think any woman does in a marriage, but yeah, that's the reality of things. Oh, even saying it out loud still doesn't feel real. I feel like I've been in a dream for the past how many weeks slash months. It feels like a dream. It feels like I'm gonna wake up out of this dream that has been.
You know what's really interesting though about what she said is part of the desire to hold on to a relationship that you know is not working can also be because the relationship is attached to some sort of identity that you have, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I understand completely why. Of course, if you envision your life to be a certain way, you might say to yourself, well, I'm gonna be the type of woman where I get married first and then I have children and I'm gonna be a wife and I'm never gonna be like those other women who are single moms and are going through this and da-da-da-da-da, right? And because of that, you can be in a relationship that isn't working, or in this case, a marriage that isn't working. Of course, she's gonna explain what happened, but I'm just saying in general, you can be in a marriage that isn't working or a situation that's not working and be like, damn, I don't want to leave this situation even though it's going really badly, because I don't want to have to accept that my identity is I am a single mom of 2 kids, right? And I can tell because it took her so long to like really say it out loud that part of her identity has been I'm a wife, I'm not no single mom with 2 kids, and she's really been not wanting to like say that that is her reality. But that can also hold you back in some ways. As much as it's good to want certain things for yourself, that can also hold you back in some ways, because you can keep yourself in situations that really aren't for you because you're holding on to the sense of the identity that you want to have for yourself, if that makes any sense.
Pending. That has been haunting me. That has been haunting me for like forever. Also, just a disclaimer, because I know my words could be twisted and I know making these sort of videos can come off the wrong way. I am 100% not dragging anyone. This is my story, this is my truth, and I will be speaking up. I think the one thing about me not wanting to even do videos like this, the woman always looks like she comes off bitter. Like, even if we come on here telling our side of things or our truth or the story, you know, we can't, I don't know why, but the internet always loves to twist it and make us come off bitter. So just a heavy disclaimer, that doesn't work on me. We ain't gonna do that today. I'm gonna go in with the Fenty Beauty concealer. This is in shade 400N. This is actually one of my favorite concealers. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, at the same time, this is my life. And who are you to come and tell me what I can and can't say? I'm gonna put this on my forehead as well. This is literally just gonna be my like concealing shade. I'm not gonna brighten up just yet. So a lot of you have been, you know, in my DMs asking me like what's going on, because somebody that I know, hint, hint, posted online about being single. Funny enough, this was literally 2 weeks after separating. 2 weeks. Now, within 2 weeks, I'm not gonna lie, I was still processing the whole thing. I did not want to put anything online. However, he thought the need to post it online that he is now single after 2 weeks. Now, as you know, I was in a 12...
Oh, she posting the... Okay, she posting the post. She not shying away from nothing. Being single, let me move this to... Oh, you guys can see it. Being single in Valentine's is disgusting. At least the weights will keep me company. But the next one, I'm cooking someone's daughter Italian food before the meeting. So obviously we're gonna assume this is her once husband. And he posted this, which I'm not here to say what's right or wrong. I get it. She's like, it's been 2 weeks and you're already posting that. But I mean, if he is technically single, he is allowed to post what he wants to post. If he's single, I'm just saying, because if it was the other way around, I would be, and a man was mad about his girl being single and she's posting being single. That's not a crime in itself. It's not a crime in itself. I get why it's like, bro, it's been 2 weeks, but that in itself is not a crime. Of course, it can be like, have they always been wanting this? Like, how long has this been going on? But it's not a crime if you post it afterwards. But let's go.
Yeah, relationship. Processing everything that's going on after only 2 weeks was still a lot from me. However, he made it very known to the whole world after 2 weeks that he was single. So yeah, for the sake of myself, for my mental health and the kids as well, I don't want to put anything online just yet. And this is why I've waited this long.
This is why you block the person. Well, obviously a divorce is different because you share children with them, but I also don't think you need to see the person on social media to co-parent. Because it can get really toxic. And trust me, I've been there as well, right? Not in co-parenting, but I mean in the sense of like, when you get over a relationship, you just have to be like, bruh, I need to block the person for my sanity. It's not even about like, oh, I hate you or whatever. Like, I just don't need to be seeing what you're doing because I don't need to be triggered by what you're doing.
To even speak up as well. Because I really just wanted to process literally what was going on in my life. What actually gets me as well is that the post after 2 weeks was him saying he's single and couldn't wait to cook for another woman on Valentine's Day next year. This is 2 weeks in. 2 weeks in. Hey, you can't make this up. You actually can't make this up. But yeah, anyways, listen, we're not gonna dwell too much on that, but I just wanted to say, yeah, that's basically why people started, you know, saying things online. Like I said, I wanted to really process it and come out in my own time. Sorry, but can you see how that consider just blends in? And it's nothing.
This is why context is important. I'm assuming she's gonna go into the context in her video, but I would love to know, well, of course, different reasons can mean different things and can add different context. If he posted that and part of the reason that you guys got divorced is because you were concerned about him with other women, then of course that can signal a red flag of maybe he's been wanting to do this and maybe he was already acting single even before he posted this, which is why he rushed to post this. That could be more context. Now, if the situation was more, maybe both of you kind of contributed to something in the relationship and it just both of you were kind of checked out, Well, that could just be him having been checked out of the relationship for a while and then posting it when he's already been checked out. So obviously we'll see.
At all that I feel like I need to explain myself, and I do not feel obliged one bit to explain my situation at all. This is not by force. This is not because A posted his thing online. It's because I felt the need and compelled to say what I need to say. I'm not going to sit here and say everything is perfect, because it's really not. This has been one of the hardest transitions and the hardest lessons and the hardest times in my life that I've had to deal with. And I always say to people around me, like my family, my friends, just because you see that I am from the outside pushing on, I'm telling you now, it's honestly one of those things that if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I'm not joking. And I'm not gonna sit here and cry all day. I can't do that. Because do you know what's even funny? I can't sit there and cry all day. Why? Because I'm a mother. I'm a mother. My kids' their eyes are on me all the time. So I'm sitting here all depressed in the room. I can't eat, I can't sleep. And this is what they're looking at. Who am I to do that to them? I can't do it. I can't do it. So honestly, I had to push on. It was literally by force. I can't do that to them. It's not in me to do that to them. I honestly have to push on. I'm gonna have to heal in my own time as well. But life goes on. And I'm not saying I've had my fair shares of tears. Even, child, yesterday night, my pillow was wet. My pillow is wet. Because this whole thing is a process. Like 1 week I'll feel fine and happy. And then like I'll have a day. Or like at night when I'm sitting there, the kids are in bed and I'm actually deep in what has actually happened and the betrayal as well. It hurts. Just bronzing. This is honestly one of my favorite bronzers, by the way. This is sculpted by Amy, and I put her all over. One thing about having a sew-in, I don't care about the lace. I put her right up there. Do you know what I mean? Got me a cheeky little sew-in. This is so cute. So yeah, hold on. My nose, don't forget the nose. I always forget this nose. I just put it on, like, just like this. That's the placement, by the way. Yeah. I blend that all in. I'm at a place where I'm not 100% healed. It's literally only been a few months. However, I'm at a place where I am trying to heal. And child, healing is not for the weak. Whoa. This is an experience that I've never had to experience before, and it's new to me. It's new to me. I'm balancing everything while trying to be, you know, the best mom I can be to the girls.
I hope she explains her healing techniques, because that could determine how well they're gonna work.
But
she better not say healing techniques going out to the club, shaking my ass to sexy red. That's not gonna help you heal.
Example I set while going through this part of my life for my children matters more than anything. It really does. Taking the Huda Beauty concealer in the shade Brittle. I'm just gonna brighten up all the areas now that I've concealed. I'm gonna let that dry down a little bit. I'm gonna go in with some liquid blush. This is the only one I've got around and I can't bother to look for anything else. So I'm gonna go in with just 2 dots of the e.l.f. Camo liquid blush.
Wait, I have a random question, and I know it's not about relationships. I thought she already did this one. What is this one during then the other one? Because the other one, I get it, was to brighten up, you know, the T-zone and stuff like that. Why is she doing another one of this? What is this aiding to do that the other one didn't accomplish? I'm trying to understand. One
of my favorites. I've got this one here as well from Huda Beauty. She's in the shade Black Cherry. Ooh, pretty. By the way, sorry, before I just continue talking and yapping, I like to put you onto this brush here. You see this brush? This brush here, you can use it for any sort of liquid products. It has a smaller side and a bigger side, and I use this for my liquid blush, and oh, the blend. Anyway, back to yapping. Yeah, I want to set an example for my daughters that they don't have to stay or be stuck in any situation that they don't want to be in, and they shouldn't be in, just because everyone says like it's the norm. And it's because I think society has now normalized certain things in relationships and see it as normal that everyone does it, and that it's normal that, you know, you can stay in it because, you know, it's bound to happen. No, my friend, that's not normal. We've normalized such a lot as a generation that it's absolutely crazy. And one thing I don't believe is bringing other people into a marriage. I think a marriage is very sacred, and I'm sorry, I just can't accept it. I won't. It's just not me, and I don't care. I believe that there are certain things you can get over in a marriage, that you can fight for in a marriage, and you can forgive in a marriage. But I've always said to myself, and I've said this for years, and I stand on business when I say this, I feel like people, when I tell them this, that I will not put up with 2 things in marriages, right? I will not, there's two things I won't put up with. And I think when I tell this to people, they were always like, yeah, but when you're in it, you will see, you know, you have children. When you're in it, you will see. I'm in it now. And I still left. Now, if you do something to betray that person and betray the marriage, I wholeheartedly believe that it is okay to leave and not put yourself through mental strain and stress. Because the one thing you could do that is the worst thing you could do in the marriage, and you do it, you just don't respect it at all. You don't respect that person. And when you cross that line, for me personally, there's no going back. There's no going back. Because first of all, it's calculated. You know exactly what you're doing. And you just don't respect that person at all. It's a very selfish act. And that's something, and I will never understand it, because it's the most worst form of betrayal that you could do to your person, to your wife, to your children, to your family. And that's something that I won't accept. Do you know what's even worse as well? I'm not the one that did anything in regards to this amount of betrayal, but I'm now having to be the one to do all the healing, to trust again. Don't ruin the makeup. I hope we're gonna take a break from storytelling right now. Let me gather myself. Let me gather myself. This is one of my favorite powders. Before going with loose powder, I like to go in with compact powder. Is it compact?
Clearly something, she's not, obviously not saying it exactly, but clearly something happened to betray the marriage. I'm sure we can imagine what that could be. And she's insinuating that it's something that he did to betray the marriage, and she just can't get over it. And so she is prepared to leave. Well, she has. She left the marriage, or she's walking away from the marriage because of that betrayal that she can't get over. I'm sure we can imagine what that could possibly be.
Is that how you call it? Pressed powder, my bad. I'm just gonna set all that concealer into place. Okay, I'm back. I missed the person I was before this.
Now, for those of you wondering, because she did show what he looks like, so that's quite interesting. We could go back here just to reference what he looks like. This is what he looks like, okay? This is her ex-husband. She actually showed him. So, you know, tattoo sleeve. He seems like he's light-skinned or something along those lines. And he likes to go to the gym. I have no comment.
I missed the person I was before this. I missed the woman I was before this. I was in La La Land. I couldn't relate, because in my head, I thought my person would never do such a thing. I was in La La Land. Like, I missed the person that I used to be before, knowing that someone could do the most wrong to you with first of all, which seemed no remorse whatsoever. Like, I'm trying to get my words out, but I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. I miss the woman that I used to.
Someone asked in the comments, do I believe that all men are cheaters and liars, or do some men actually, are they actually loyal and stable? I do believe there are, yes, there are men. I was gonna say there are lots of men. There are lots of men theoretically, like, in the world. Now, am I gonna say that that's a majority of men? No, it's not a majority of men. But in terms of like looking for men that are that, there are lots of men that do that. It's just not necessarily going to be a majority of men, because majority of men are low vibrational. They only think about sex, playing video games. Like, most men can't even properly take care of themselves, have discipline in their own lives, have consistency in their own lives, stick to a job, have goals, achieve those. Like, so if we can't even expect majority of men to like achieve their own goals, have discipline in their own life, like, of course they're not going to be leaders in a relationship. Unfortunately, the reality of it is, the men with those actual quality traits that can even be possible leaders in a relationship it's not going to be every man, because most men don't know how to lead themselves. So with that being said, it's still, because someone said that's heartbreaking, but it still can be a positive, because you being in this community and you being part of the women that are learning about relationships and understanding them better can actually do you a service, because you can pinpoint and find those men a lot easier. And you'll be skilled at attracting those men, because then when you find the men you're looking for, you'll know exactly what to say and do to attract them to you even more. And I know it sounds a little bit selfish, but all of you in this community will have the best chance at getting the minority of men that are amazing and that can actually give you a good relationship. The rest of the women who aren't in my community, don't watch shows like this, don't gain this experience, they will have to fend for themselves between all the other men. Which is fine, because you're already in the minority of women, the fact that you're here trying to learn and understand relationships better. So as it relates to all of you and your own outcome in your future, it actually is a very positive, your future. Your future is very bright. But for the ones who aren't learning about this stuff and don't care to learn, they just want to leave everything up to chance. Relationships is like a lottery. Oh, maybe a good man will knock on my door. Those women will have to fend for themselves with all the rest of the garbage men, unfortunately. That's just the reality of life. But your life is good.
To be before knowing what someone is capable of. Because now in my head, all of y'all are capable. I was in La La Land. I didn't think my person would betray me to the highest of highest betrayal. On top of that, betray me like that while also holding everything down and holding him down. Betray me like that while being the mother of his children. I was in La La Land. I must have been in La La Land. I don't know. I've always thought if you can't trust your person that you're in a relationship with, then why are you with them? So I gave my whole trust to that man. Trusted him with my life. In my crying sessions and in my cries to God, beg that this does not change my heart. It doesn't change who I am as a person and as a woman. I want to learn and I want to grow from this. I'm speaking for all the women out there as well. For many of us, it will, unfortunately, it does change your view on how you view men or how you view relationships, how you view people. You kind of second guess a whole lot of things. And it's such a horrible place to be in. And if you do find yourself,
I get what she's saying, but and of course I'm not in this situation, and I know she's feeling a bunch of pain that I'm not feeling, so I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, it's so easy to just move on and just live life. No, it's not. I'm not saying that at all. But I do want to say that you have to fight as hard as you can. Whenever you have a bad experience with a man, fight your feeling and desire to say all men are bad. They're only trash. They're only gonna take advantage of me. I'm never gonna find a good man. You have to fight that tooth and nail. Because at the end of the day, as a straight woman, you are attracted to men, okay? Which means that you will have to accept that you have an innate desire to be with a man. That's okay. But if you already live with the mentality that all men are trash, I'm never gonna meet the right one, I'm never gonna find true love, all the men I meet are gonna disrespect me, you've already lost. You literally have already lost. You have to fight that feeling that tells you that you will never find a good man. That feeling will prevent you from finding a good man. And even though we learn about stuff and we see these horror stories and stuff like that, compartmentalize what you receive when we watch horror stories and say to yourself, I will avoid getting in a situation like this. However, that doesn't mean that all men are trash. I'll just make sure that I put this piece of information in my brain that when I go out and I'm dating men, I am aware that this is a possibility so that I'm vigilant as towards, based on the signs and the things I'm receiving from a man, if that could happen in this situation with this guy. Do you get what I'm saying?
In that place, come out of it as soon as you can. Come out of it. That's not life. I'm not going out like that. I'm not going out like that. And I don't know if this was experience that on his side that was trying to, I don't know if he was trying to break me. And one thing I'm not going to allow is this man to break me. I'm not going to do that. For the sake of my children, for the sake of me, I'm not going to allow that. Oh, sorry. The blush I used was this Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is I just used like all of them. That's the blush I used. I then went in with my L'Oreal Mercier powder as well. And then I'm just contouring my nose with this CoverGirl Ebony Bronzer. I don't know if they still do this one, but yeah, that's what I use on my nose. So the Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder. And this is really, really bright. And I really want like a bright look today.
What happened to Fenty? Nobody likes Fenty anymore? Is that not a vibe no more for all the girlies? I didn't see she didn't mention not one thing Fenty. I thought Fenty was a big one.
I like to just love a bright look. I'm gonna go and, whoa, that's quite bright. Fix Plus, I'm gonna melt all that because the amount of powder I have used, we melt on that. Go in with the Charlotte Tilbury.
Now let me tell you why, and I'm so sorry I have to tell you that way. But if you gotta help a man, he don't want you. He don't like you if you gotta help him. Let me tell you why. Because he should be helping you. You're too masculine for him. Every time he sees you, he's gonna see the help that he needed. Every time he sees you, he's gonna see the struggle that he was in. Every time he sees you, it's gonna remind him that he was not enough and he couldn't get his own place on his own. So guess what? He used you. He climbed on your back. He got a place. And now whoever he moves in next is gonna see him as a real man. You don't help men. That is very masculine of you. Men are providers. Men are protectors, not the women. You have repelled him with your masculine energy. Don't do it no more. You learned a lesson? don't repeat. Don't ever help a man. They're supposed to be helping you, darling. A real man would allow you to help him. Now he can go be a real man elsewhere. In someone else's eyes that have no idea that he needed help from a woman to get his place, okay? The next woman he invites in, they have no clue that it took a woman to get him in there. Y'all gonna learn. And men always tell you about their fight.
One thing I've realized, yeah, about that Shira woman, this woman here, I don't know if you've watched her videos. Now that I go back and I listen to a lot of her videos that I've experienced now with my situation, she is speaking nothing but facts. Lashes are on. I don't know what lip combo I want to go for today, so I'm going to go for Night Moth with MAC. Okay. I'm going to go in with this pink lip gloss.
I do think it's interesting that she mentioned that because, I mean, she didn't go into detail about whether or not she built a man, but in our last reaction video, the woman did talk about building her man and building a business with him, and then getting to the point where after the business was built, she then found herself in a situation where he kind of got his head big, and he thought, you know, nobody could tell him anything, and then it kind of affected their relationship after that. So I do think it's quite interesting how I do believe, like, in that sense, Shira's advice is correct, because the advice she gave there was don't help a man kind of like build him up to become what he's going to become or reach his maximum potential, because you don't necessarily always reap the benefits of that. I'm not saying it's a crime to, hey, if a guy's on his journey and he's already doing the things that he's supposed to be doing, building himself, and you happen to be building yourself along your own journey and your journeys collide, that's not a crime. But what you don't want is a man with no motivation, no intention, no whatever it is that he's supposed to be doing for himself, and you're like, hey, let me help you have intention, let me help you have motivation and all this other stuff, so that you can become the whole man that you need to become. Let me just skip ahead here, see if she had anything
Mission
else.
failed. As you can see, I am not dead. I'm asking you to pray for me. I'm asking you to pray for my children, and pray for any women that are in this situation. As soon as I found out, I filed for divorce that same week. Please and thank you. Third signed, G Sterling. It's not the end. This is not God's end for me. I know it isn't. My end.
So actually, she brings up a good point, because if I exit this, right? If we look at her channel, she's got 371,000 subscribers, which is great, right? The reason I mention this is because if I look at her channel, you know, she has got a bunch of blogs, a bunch of beauty stuff, all this other stuff. But what I like, though, is obviously she's gonna have her family stuff there. So I mean, it's her family. Let's look at what he looked. Let's be a little bit nosy. Chizzy chat. Let's just 1 second. No, I'm not messy chat, but let's just see a little bitty. It's okay, chat. Don't worry about it. Oh, where is? Come on, show us. Did she edit it out? I think she edited it out. Yeah. She definitely edited it out. She must have cut it out afterwards. I just wanted to see them interact. Let's see. Let me just be a little bit nosy, chat. Don't mind. Okay, let's see. This is a family vlog. Let's see what she doing with the fam. Okay.
Hi guys.
Come on, show them. Oh, she must have taken out everything.
Right, onto the music.
Oh, there it is. Hold on 1 second. Just let me be messy for 1 second.
Nice. I can jump here, yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Hey.
Again.
Keep that shit, guys. Well done, everyone. That's a
sleepy.
wrap. We've got the shot.
That's one wrap.
Well, that's him
That's a
there.
wrap. Period.
He is not really saying anything, but that's him there.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is a long-awaited.
The doctor himself, he was like, what? There is nothing here for tummy tuck. He was like, there's nothing. The doctor looked stressed. Because he's thinking, what's wrong with this guy? This guy's got like a mental health problem.
No. So it turns out I couldn't get a tummy tuck, because originally I was going there to get a tummy tuck because, yeah, basically. But when the doctor was there, yeah, he basically said there's nothing to tuck. There was no stretch. Like the skin was too tight. It couldn't stretch down basically. So that was tough. And I'm too young. I'm still in my 20s, guys, to be having my boobs touching my knees.
You're almost 30, man. Keep quiet.
Relax. You know damn well I'm not almost 30. Relax.
You're like late 20s.
No, I'm mid-20s. Anyways, Charles, you can.
That's not why we're here. Yeah, my point being is, what was my point again? I was actually making a good point. Her having her YouTube channel and having, you know, all her subscribers and stuff like that. That's part of why it's so important to keep things for yourself throughout your relationship. I'm not saying, oh, keep it as a backup because in case you get divorced, no. What I'm saying is that's what helps you transition back into a life of your own. And now, I'm not saying when you're getting divorced, but even in a relationship, as you transition from being in a relationship, investing in someone else, putting time and energy into them, and then if you break up with that person, going back to your life is a lot harder if you've made your entire life them, right? Like, imagine if, let's say for the sake of example, when she got married, she just quit YouTube, right? And she quit making content and everything was just about being a wife only and not having her own identity outside of that. It would be a lot harder to transition into a point in her life where she is single and able to say, okay, this is my new routine. These are the new things I do. This is how I live my life. If she wasn't already doing that on a regular basis, it's just very hard to pick that back up if you've let that go for so many years. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, let's go into our next segment here. We'll go right away. Our next segment is our question segment. By the way, I seen someone say earlier, I think it was Akaya, and she was like, my friend makes fun of me because I watch your show. Well, your friend ain't gonna be laughing when you're getting married and to the man of your dreams and he treats you like a princess and a queen. You wanna know what they're gonna be asking you and all the rest of you that watch my show? What's your secret? Girl, the guys you with, they always worship you. It's like you got them on a leash. You got these men like dogs. How do you do it? They always buying you flowers all the time. They always taking you on dates all the time. They always doing things. Girl, I can't even get a man to text me back. How you do it? Is it your ass? You got the fattest that? You must got that crazy coochie. How you make them crazy for you like that? I'm telling you, they'll be asking you your secret. They'll think it's your coochie. They'll think it's the way that you smile. They'll think it's because you got the fattest ass or the tightest body or the way you wear a dress or the way, they'll think it's everything. They won't realize you just have an understanding of men and relationships and how to get what you want from them. And the reason that they're frustrated is because they don't. They were laughing at you when you were watching my show. You're taking in information, you're applying it, you're learning it, you're growing in your understanding of relationships and your experience that you get what you want from men. They were laughing at you then. When it's time to walk down the aisle, you got the man of your dreams. Oh, does he got a friend? Does he got a brother? I can't find a man like that. Oh, there's no men like that out there. You shouldn't have been laughing then. Okay, let's go into Aaliyah's message. Aaliyah's 38 from Kenya. We'll go into her message and we'll see what she has to say.
How do I know if I should wait around or bounce if he hasn't shown any signs of commitment in over a year?
Aaliyah, pretty straightforward question. If he hasn't shown any signs of commitment in over a year, why are you waiting for the day in which he'll show you signs of commitment? It's pretty clear. I always talk about 2 weeks, right? Like, if you give a guy 2 weeks to show you something, right? I'm saying, like, let's say you meet a guy at an event or something. You give him 2 weeks to show you something like, hey, let's go on a date. Let's do something. Ask me out something. After 2 weeks, forget a year. 2 weeks he can't show you something, done. Move on with your life. Why are you waiting around for a man for a year for nothing? Get out of the habit of waiting around for men. This is why I say add in your routine, and then what's why in my private community, I teach the women in my community before I do anything else to understand how to have routine in their life based on their interest before worrying about dating, because having routine will give you foundation that will prevent you from waiting around for a year for a single man, right? For one man. Bree asked, is she AI? I forgot to mention, any question that gets submitted to me through for the live stream readouts, some people will submit a voice message because that's an option. Some people will submit a text message question to me, which is also an option. The people that submit a text question, their question will be read out by an AI reader. None of the contents of their question has been changed or edited in any way, but the AI reader will make it a smoother readout, and then it can be a follow along, whether you're listening on the train or something like that, or whether you're actually watching the show like on your TV or something. So that's why I do it that way. So don't think because you're hearing an AI reader that it is an AI actual, like not a real person. Trust me, these are all real people for 100%. I don't make up any of these questions. And you'll also notice some of them will be their actual voice. It's just a choice that some people have. So that was your answer, Aaliyah. This question comes from Megan. I believe Megan asked a question earlier on another show.
Hey, I just wanted to say something to the girls in this chat because I got genuinely great advice here yesterday.
Oh, she wants to address the chat. Okay, see what Megan has to say.
But I also saw some comments that were unnecessarily judgmental. I came into this space being open about a real dating situation, the way a lot of women are trying to be. And
she's addressing y'all, so you better listen up in the chat. She's addressing you all. She's not addressing me, so you better listen up, perk your ears up.
Necessarily judgmental. I came into this space being open about a real dating situation, the way a lot of women are trying to be. And the first thing people who actually know me tend to say about me is that I'm kind, giving, and that I lead with love. So I'm not interested in becoming mean just because a few strangers decided vulnerability was an invitation to be cruel. But I do want to say this should be a safe space. Nobody came onto your page, asked you to unpack your life, and then picked apart every word you said. So why are some of y'all in here responding to women's real situations like it's entertainment or a chance to feel superior? If it's not
Ooh, she talking to y'all. She not talking to me. Someone said Megan clocking us. She clocking y'all for real. She clocking y'all T for real. Listen. I'm a middle force. I'm not on one side or the other, but I do think Megan makes some good. She clocking y'all T for real. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Kind, loving, necessary, or encouraging, maybe it doesn't need to be said, because this is exactly why people keep things to themselves and suffer in silence. Too many keyboard warriors mistake being harsh for being honest. And to the girls who were kind, thoughtful, and offered actual perspective, thank you. Kindness costs nothing, and you never know what somebody is carrying. Also, let's be clear. Saying I wasn't initially attracted to someone, or describing factual things like height or being bald, was not me trying to tear him down. Attraction can grow when someone's character, consistency, and heart show up, and that's actually the point. I was able to look beyond what was surface level, and it grew into something real. So if my openness made anyone uncomfortable, that's okay. But please don't confuse your interpretation with my intention. And if you're only here to tear women down, respectfully, find a different hobby. The rest of us are trying to learn, love, and do better.
Okay, Megan, I actually like that you mentioned that because you do bring up a good point. And I just mentioned this earlier, but this is why I say these are all real people. Like, I don't want you, because I understand there can be an entertainment aspect to the show, the presentation, and the way that I deliver the information, because obviously I don't want to make it boring, right? It's not supposed to be sterile. So, but with that being said, especially when we're having question submissions, understand all of these people are real people. So you have to be aware that when someone asks a question, they are also like, it's very different asking a question when you're just like in the comment versus when your question is being presented. Literally, you have half the screen to say your piece, talk your voice, and then eventually there will be video submissions as well where you'll literally see people's faces. So it's like they're now a part of the show. So you have to understand, it's not like, you know, just asking a question in the comments, you have your username. It's like, no, everyone's paying attention to me. Everyone's paying attention to my story. Everyone's paying attention to like everything that's going on with me. They're analyzing everything, right? And you have to be aware of how frightening that can feel. Obviously me, I'm in front of the camera. So when you guys say stuff about me, I'm in front of the camera. But when other people come on, they're not used to being in front of the camera. So when you guys critique them, there's nothing wrong with having an opinion or critiquing. You just want to be mindful of that person is going to watch this video back and then they're going to read your comment. And they are actually a real human being. That's why I think that the AI voice can be a little bit, I would love for those of you that send in a question to more use your voice, because I think the AI voice makes people feel like it's not a real person, right? Like it's just like a random person's question. These are all real people with real questions. And Megan brings up a valid point, which is that when you have an opinion, which is fine to have an opinion, there's nothing wrong being in the comments and having an opinion, but you want to be mindful of, is the comment you're giving actual constructive criticism, or, you know, constructive in a way where it's like, hey, maybe this could be a solution, or maybe this could be helpful? Or is your comment more skewed towards, oh, you do that? I would never do that. You made that mistake? I would never make that mistake. You let a guy do that? I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it. We all kind of feel like when we're watching this show, men never trick me, but we're all kind of here because in one way or another, we've been got over on. Some people got some stuff off on it. Even me. people got themselves off on me too, right? And I've been tricked as well, and I've been bamboozled as well. So we can't act like we're immune to that, or it's like just because we may have smartened up since making those mistakes that we are like a perfect person who has never ever made a mistake before. So we want to try to be more understanding of people's situation. I get it. Some of the things that people say will be funny in nature and will just feel like a little bit so ridiculous where it's like, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of funny. But while something can be funny, there's a difference between acknowledging, hey, this is funny or this is kind of silly, versus, you know, judging the person to the point where it's like, you're almost like degrading them for their real life experience and what they're genuinely going through, which is why they're asking the question. So there's a balance there. I'm not saying we can't have fun, but at the same time, we want to be mindful of being helpful and also not making someone feel like, damn, maybe I shouldn't ask a question because everyone's going to make fun of me type of thing, right? Because that's not fun either, okay? All right, let's go to I'm glad you mentioned that, Megan. Let's go on to our next question here. This one comes from, I don't know if it's Gianna or Yana. Hopefully one of them is the right way to say it. I'm going to assume it's Yana. Okay, so let's go with Yana's question.
Hi, Tomisin. I'm in a long-distance relationship with my partner, my boyfriend. We've been together since early this year, but we've been seeing each other since like mid-2024, but only wedding's official this year. We've gone back and forth within our countries in that span of time. And I've met his parents, his friends, he's met my family, he spent the holidays here, and most recently, he spent about 4 months living here with me. And the next step was supposed to be me going to his country for an extended period of time. But about 7 weeks ago, we put that on pause because he started becoming very introspective about the relationship. I think the seriousness of what we have has really hit him, and he's now thinking about what it would actually mean to build a life together. He's already talked to me about marriage, potentially having children. He's told me he can see me as a good mother. His biggest fear, as he's shared with me, seems to be that he won't be enough or won't be quote-unquote fixed enough to avoid hurting me because he recognizes that he's had avoidant tendencies in previous relationship.
So when men say this, Yana, not to cut you off, but also you're very well spoken. When men say this, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, at the end of the day, you can have fears and reservations about any decision you're ever going to make in life. Any important decision you make, you can always have a fear of, what if it doesn't work out? What if I hurt the other person? What if I do something wrong? What if I cheat? What if you cheat? What if we love each other and then one day we don't? Like, there's endless possibilities to, yes, when you get into a relationship, you're inherently taking a risk that things could possibly not work out. But at the end of the day, Yana, what I would say to you and what I think in terms of your response to him should be is you make a choice every day of how you choose to show up in the relationship. So if you want to give yourself the best opportunity for the relationship to go well, put your best foot forward in the relationship. If he feels like he has avoidant tendencies, the key isn't, or the solution isn't, oh, I have avoidant tendencies, so maybe I just won't be in a relationship because I'm scared of my avoidant tendencies hurting you. No, the solution is, I tend to have avoidant tendencies in my previous relationships. Rather than making the same mistake again, I'm going to recognize and be self-aware of my character, and then me and you can build a strategy together, because I'm not going to change the essence of who I am, but I can work with who I am by giving us a plan and a strategy. Okay, when I tend to be avoidant, this is how it's best to deal with me. Understand, I might take some space for like maybe 24 hours, but I'll make sure to not do more than 24 hours. These are the things that tend to trigger my avoidant tendencies. These are the topics or the aspects of relationships that tend to make me scared or not want to have a conversation about it or whatever the case may be. In my previous relationships, these are the circumstances under which I was avoidant, and these are the things I did. For our strategy, let's try and build a strategy so that this doesn't happen, and even if it does happen, we have a plan in place on how to deal with it together, so that you can understand what I'm going through and I understand what you're going through. Do you see how it's like, yes, I am this way, and I'm not saying that I will never be this way, but we can still plan to make our relationship successful while working with some of my character flaws, and the same for you, vice versa, okay?
What's interesting is that he actually isn't pulling away from me during this process. In many ways, he's been doing the opposite. Over the 7 weeks, he's remained very consistent. We video call several times a week, like hours at a time. We text. He calls me during his commute despite the 6-hour time difference, and he continues to initiate connection. He's also becoming more and more vulnerable. He's sharing his fears and thoughts that are difficult for him to articulate. When I become hurt or withdrawn, he notices and asks me what's wrong. And when I explain something that's hurt me, he's generally receptive and takes accountability. And when he reaches his emotional capacity, he tells me rather than disappearing. We take some space, and then he comes back and continues the conversation. More recently, we started talking about what taking the next step could look like. And things are generally going well in most areas. So I don't really feel that my question is, does he love me or does he want me? Because his behavior makes me feel that he does. The question is more about how long this introspective phase can reasonably last and how I distinguish healthy contemplation from indefinite avoidance. I don't want to pressure him into making a decision before he's ready, and I don't want to give him a deadline because I want his growth to come from his own internal motivation. But at the same time, I don't want to put my own life on hold indefinitely. So what would you look for as evidence that someone is genuinely moving through this process rather than simply staying stuck in contemplation? And how these suggest I determine my own time frame or boundaries around this without turning them into an ultimatum for him. I want to give him appropriate space to work through his fears while making sure I'm not waiting indefinitely for someone to become ready. Thanks, Tomisin.
This is probably the best question we've had on the show, like the most robust question we've had on the show in terms of just going through all the points and then asking the question. Right? I love that. If all our submissions could be like this, that would be amazing. So thank you, Yana. Now, to answer your question, you're not going to like my answer, though. My answer is going to be, you're going to have to make things very black and white. So it's either he is ready to be committed to you in a relationship with you, and then you guys start exploring and building that. If he's contemplating, he contemplates without your presence. Let me say it again. If he's contemplating, he must contemplate without your presence. The problem with men, they will naturally skew towards and enjoy gray areas. Gray areas give them a lot of leeway and room to maneuver. Within gray areas, they can say, I misunderstood you. We had a miscommunication. The misunderstanding led to whatever it is that I was doing wrong. And through miscommunication and misunderstanding, he can frame anything that he does as not necessarily being wrong because his intention was to do wrong, but being wrong because of the misunderstanding or the miscommunication. Why this becomes dangerous for you as a woman is because now when you try to set boundaries in your relationship and you say, these are my standards and these are my expectations of any man who's gonna be my boyfriend, he's gonna say, but right now I'm not trying to be your boyfriend. Right now I'm just trying to get to know you. Right now I'm just trying to understand if we should be in a relationship. You see how now it doesn't allow you to put the relationship in a box and say, if you want us to be this, your expectations and your standards must meet the things that you deliver must meet my expectations and standards, right? Your life becomes way more complicated when you're in this gray area where you can't set those standards and expectations for him in the relationship and what he must meet if you guys are going to build one. Which is why I say, to eliminate the gray area, it must be your decision is either you're contemplating, but you don't have any access to me. I'm talking about no access, no talking, no calling, no texting, no nothing. And if you have contemplated and decided what you want to do and decided that you're ready to move forward and commit yourself to the being in a relationship, that's when you will get access to me. That way, neither of us are confused on what we're building here and the direction that we're going towards. And also for you, this answers your question, which is you no longer have to be confused about how long do I wait and what is my timeline, because instead of you being, because remember, guys love the gray area. It's perfect for them. It's not perfect for you. So imagine you're in a situation where he has access to you, but he's still contemplating. Well, then he'd love to just contemplate forever then, because he has access to you while still contemplating, right? Now, if you eliminate his ability to have access to you, now, magically, the contemplation has to be a lot more efficient. Because if he's truly, and I believe you when you say that he likes you, but if he truly likes you, likes spending time with you, likes talking to you, likes being around you, then what will happen is naturally he'll be like, okay, I really have to speed up this contemplation process, okay? Because if this contemplation process takes forever, then forever I will not get access to Yana. You see how that you almost have to use the fact that a man wants and desires you as the carrot, so to speak, that you dangle in front of him to be like, if you want access to me, you must make a decision. If you're not too keen on access to me, or you're not too keen on making a decision, well, then you won't get access to me. So if that upsets you, better make a decision, right? Keeping your relationships with men black and white, keep you in the driver's seat and keep them from being able to live in a gray area forever. Okay. Let's go to our next question here. This one comes from Nora. Okay. 23, United States.
In my relationship, it's almost like we have no trust in each other and we have disrespect each other so many times and still stay together. But it's almost like he's not even afraid to lose me anymore. Because anytime I say, if you keep doing something, I'm going to leave, he's okay with it because he knows I'm going to end up staying anyways. So how can I change this without leaving? We both are trying to find ways to solve this relationship, but I can't help myself to feel like I'm disrespecting myself by staying in this relationship after all the times he's broken a boundary. For example, I know myself to never ever stay. As soon as someone disrespects me, I leave. But I stayed, and it makes me feel horrible.
Okay, I have to call you out. You're saying you know that, but you're not doing that. Nora, you've been a bad girl. You're saying you know that you're not supposed to do that, but you're also acknowledging you literally haven't done that in your relationship with this guy. So what is that even worth? You're being a bad girl, Nora.
Never ever stay. As soon as someone disrespects me, I leave. But I stayed, and it makes me feel horrible. I hate that he has the upper hand in this relationship, because it's like hell say, change this or I'm leaving, I'm done. But when I say I'm leaving, he's okay with it because he knows I'm a come back. So how can I stay in this relationship without leaving? We both truly do believe we are soulmates, and we are both willing to try to fix it.
No, I don't like hearing that. No, you're gonna make me upset, Nora. No. Stop. Nora, you are asking me, why doesn't this man take my word seriously and respect that I'm going to leave when I say I'm going to leave? Nora, it's because he has no reason to respect your word and respect that when you say you're going to leave, you're going to leave. You're literally showing him and have shown him that your word means nothing. You're asking me, why doesn't someone respect me when I've shown them they don't need to respect me? Like, again, I'm not trying to chastise you or say you're a bad person for asking this question, but you have to take responsibility for how people treat you. I'm not saying that someone might not, randomly disrespect you out of the blue in a way that you didn't anticipate. But when you say someone on an ongoing basis has been disrespecting me, and I've continued to allow them to disrespect me, and I've not done anything about the disrespect, and then you proceed to ask, well, why does the person who I've allowed to disrespect me on an ongoing basis continue to disrespect me? That's because you're continuing to allow them to disrespect you. Okay? You're going to get me upset because you need to stand up for yourself and your own self-respect. There is no strategy to get someone to respect you when you're not respecting yourself. Respecting yourself looks like saying, if you're going to disrespect me, you will not get access to me. And moving on with your life. Enough of this soulmates BS. Okay? That is BS. I need to grab you and shake you. You can be soulmates with a man who respects you. You can run away to a land far, far away with a Prince Charming who takes care of you, who loves you, who cherishes you, who does things for you, who takes you on dates, who's romantic with you, who will make adjustments for you. You are not soulmates with a man simply because you've had sex with him for a bunch of times and a bunch of months and you've enjoyed having sex with him and you've had some decent conversation with him. That does not make him your soulmate. Okay? Get yourself out of this romanticization of one particular man just because you've had some experiences with him. And I get it, right? I'm not saying you're a bad person for having emotions. But what I'm saying is you're convincing yourself of a narrative that is untrue, which is me and this man are soulmates because of what? Decide for yourself that your soulmate looks like someone who respects you. Decide for yourself that your soulmate looks like someone who values you in the relationship. Decide for yourself that your soulmate looks like someone that when you say, I don't like something and I need something to change, they actually change that. That's a decision that you can make. That's not a decision that the universe had. You make that decision that the only way I will even accept the reality or the possibility of someone being my soulmate is if I see these elements present in my relationship. Any man who disrespects me on an ongoing basis, any man who cheats on me, any man who's lying to me, any man who's manipulating me, those men will, just by simple action of them taking those actions and being that person and having that dynamic with me, they will not be my soulmate. Because I know what my soulmate looks like and I know the relationship I will have with my soulmate. What you've done, and this is what makes it backwards, you've taken that man's photo, that man's image, and you've attached it to what you believe your soulmate looks like. What you should do is the reverse order. You say, my soulmate has these qualities, does this, acts like this, and has this type of relationship with me. The only way I attach an image to that soulmate is if the man that I meet has all of those same qualities, not the other way around. I don't pick an image first and then try and attach soulmate to that image. I pick qualities first, and then the man who presents himself to have those qualities immediately gets pasted in the soulmate status. Do you get what I'm saying? And so we need to reevaluate what you're even doing in this relationship with this man, because you're doing nothing. If you think that coming up with some sort of strategy to get him to magically respect you is actually gonna work, that's not gonna work. You're gonna waste more of your time. What you need to do is immediately after you listen to this message, this answer, block him on everything. Block his number as well. Go into your phone, delete all your pictures and videos of him. Go into your recently deleted, delete that as well. Go into your hidden folder, delete that as well. Go into your Snapchat memories, delete that as well. Delete all your screenshots of text message threads, delete that as well in your recently deleted. Go through if you have anything on your computer, delete that as well. Throw away any clothes, pictures, memories you have of him that are still at your place. Throw away those as well in the garbage bin and then in the trash can, and then take that trash bag into a public trash bin where you throw it away so you can't access it anymore. Then you begin moving on with your life. Because there's nothing left for you in a relationship where someone is on an ongoing basis disrespecting you. There's no need to keep memories of the disrespect. Why? There's no need to keep pictures of the disrespect. Why? There's no need to keep message threads of the disrespect. Why? He's made it clear how he feels about you. He's made it clear he's not valuing being in a relationship with you. So why do you value anything about him? You shouldn't. Okay. Next, we have Selena, who is 38 from Canada. Okay. Let's see what Selena has to say.
Hi, Tomisin. Great content. I just wanted to ask a question. I was talking to someone for 4 months long distance, and he was very consistent, and his, words matched his actions and everything. But then we had a discussion, not an argument, but more of like a discussion about like how me bringing up like, oh, I didn't realize long distance is a little bit harder than I thought. As you know, like we get to know people more in person. And, FaceTiming and phone calls is great, but it doesn't really replace like in-person interactions. And I wasn't asking anything of him. I was just like expressing, I didn't realize how difficult it would be. Because he did travel to see me, and we had a great time together. And then we were planning to see each other again mid-August, but he had a family situation and his mom was having surgery. But he still tried to stay in touch with me as much as he can. And but he had obviously a lot going on, and we pushed our meetup until like September. The problem is, during that interaction, this guy has a good sense of humor. Like, honestly, he makes me laugh a lot, which is something I liked about him. During interaction, I noticed that when I shared something with him, just like, oh, hey, I feel this way, or I missed us hanging out. There was no blame, no attacking, nothing. I find like he gets offended, and maybe I'm realizing it's like emotional immaturity. So immediately, like, his choice, like, well, I can't do anything right now, you know, my situation. So, like, he offered me an exit. Oh, if you're not happy, like, you're more than willing to leave. Like, I understand that, which I didn't really like, because to me, if you like someone, an exit shouldn't really be on the table. Like, a man leading a relationship would want to keep his woman. And the thing is, I know how he feels about me. Like, I never questioned it, to be honest. He's been honest in a lot of things, and I appreciate that about him. But even during this conversation, he provided me an exit. And then, like, sometimes he uses his sense of humor, I think, to put people down, thinking it's funny. When I was, like, trying to take a pause to process what he was saying, he's like, oh, do you need some meds? As if, like, I have Alzheimer's, which I don't.
What? Okay. This, you might have it on the nose here, which is he's a bit emotionally immature, because that's not I understand making jokes. I love making jokes, but there's like a time and place for making jokes. So when you're saying that, like, that's not really a joke, especially when you're having a serious conversation and then the joke is, oh, do you need meds because you have Alzheimer's? Like, what type of joke is that? That concerns me, because again, it does speak to emotional immaturity, a lack of understanding timing, but then also like a lack of respect for your own feelings and emotions, right? Like, for example, he was just, oh, my family's going through something, I'm having a family emergency, right? When he says that, he expects you to sympathize, empathize, and understand what he's going through. Not be like, oh, do you need a little blankie for your little tears since your mom's in surgery? You need a little blankie? Imagine if you would have said that to him. You think he would have taken it as a joke? Probably not. So my point being is, if he would expect someone to be sensitive to his own feelings and the things that he's going through, I'm confused why he would even think that was an appropriate time to make that type of joke. That's what's concerning to me about, like, outside of him liking you and wanting this relationship, my concern is, like, if you're going to be with someone and he's that emotionally immature to not even understand how to, like, empathize or be understanding of your feelings and perspective, that's concerning for me. Very concerning, actually.
Put people down, thinking it's funny. When I was, like, trying to take a pause to process what he was saying, he's like, oh, do you need some meds? As if, like, I have Alzheimer's, which I don't think it's something to make fun of at all. And something else was calling me, like, crazy, but he was laughing about it, thinking it's a joke. So I found that very disrespectful, and, like, I ended our conversation there, and then I broke up with him the next day because I don't really tolerate that kind of disrespect. Do you think I approached this the right way? Feel like I did, but I would love your insights on that. Respect is really important to me, and if he's doing this earlier on and dodging conversations this way, I can't trust him being mature about it in the future when life gets hard.
Selena, I think it's great what you did, to be honest with you. I'm glad that this is where the question went, because I was thinking maybe it was going to go in, oh, and then, you know, I'm trying to figure out if we should meet up or not. I'm actually glad that you responded that way, because based on how you describe it, that would be quite concerning to me. Even though for some people they might hear that and be like, he just made a joke. It's the context of, excuse me, when the joke came, and also it coming, like, as you're in the middle of you expressing and just taking a pause, like you mentioned, to think about the information you're receiving from him in a very serious moment. And like I said earlier, do you think he would have taken it as a joke if when he mentioned his mom going into surgery, you were like, oh, you need a little blankie blank for your tears? Blankie for your tears? Or you need a teddy bear for your tears? No, he wouldn't have. He would have been very offended by you saying that. And it wouldn't be funny then. It wouldn't be a laughing matter then. And this is part of, emotional maturity is also understanding that just because I'm not going through something and it's not my problem, that doesn't mean I make it any less important. One of the things that I hate about people who are emotionally immature is when you explain to them something you're going through, something that you're upset about, those people, they tend to react and respond to you like, oh, it's not a big deal, who cares, whatever. And it's like, I promise you, if that was their problem, they would want you to care as much as they care. They would be very passionate about it. It wouldn't just be a whatever thing. They'd be talking about it 55 times. They'd want to express themselves, and it would be very serious to them. So I hate when you're coming to someone that you actually care about and you're close to, and you're telling them something that's important to you, and because it's not their issue, they treat it as if it's not that serious. But when it's their issue, it's the most important thing in the world. People like that, keep yourself far away from, because you will always be frustrated with your relationship with them, because you'll feel like when I have a problem, it's not a real problem. When it's your problem, it's the biggest issue on earth. And you can't live like that in a whether it's a family member or a friend even, but you definitely can't live like that in a romantic relationship where when it's your problem, it ain't no real problem. When it's his problem, it's the biggest issue on earth, because you're always going to feel emotionally drained trying to give to that man and trying to, oh, well, I want to help you. I want to be understanding. I want to sympathize. I want to go through this with you. And then when it's your thing, he's like, haha, do you need your meds? You probably have Alzheimer's. That's not sustainable. And the fact that he would even make that comment in that moment and not, even if he, let's say he made it accidentally, just off, not immediately be like, I apologize, that was the wrong time for me to do that. It's just like, it's just so bad all the way around. And I'm glad, Selena, that you did break up with him and end the relationship after that level of disrespect, because I would have advised you to do the same thing, to be honest with you. There is no, you did not overdo it, overboard. When you're having a serious conversation with someone and you're expressing how you feel, and they feel like that's a moment to make a joke and dismiss your feelings, cool. All right, you're dismissed forever then. I hope you're happy with your choice there, right? So no wrong decision on your part. Okay, this is, excuse me, Elizabeth, who is 34 from Denmark. Okay, let's see what Elizabeth has to say.
Hey, Tomisin, I think I just got out of a situationship with a PhD exchange student, and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of broke up with me a couple of times, but somehow he ended up coming back. Not only that, but like coming back from a different country, well, several different countries now. And then, I was just like, okay, what are we doing here, buddy? Are you in or are you out? Are you actually wanting to be in this relationship with me, the person, or not? And he's like, he doesn't even answer the question that I'm actually asking. He says, I can't see myself being with you forever. We've been together for...
What the hell does that mean? Okay. If a man,
Buddy.
let me even go to this. Make sure I go to the right message here. He says, I can't see myself being with you forever. If a man says that, be like, perfect, I'm gone forever. Poof, and you disappear. If a man ever tries to express that he doesn't want and desire you, you're gone. Never ever, this is like a life lesson. Never ever overstay your welcome. Never, never. People will always disrespect you and treat you like garbage when you overstay your welcome. Get very good at building the skill of understanding when you have overstayed your welcome. Because the moment you continue to stay past that, hoping that things will change or things will get better, they will show you why you are not welcomed. I'm telling you this as a life lesson. Be very vigilant when people try to give you hints that they, I don't really want you around that bad. Oh, I'm gone already. Once you say that, you start expressing that you're not that keen on me being around, because I'm telling you, the reason I'm saying this is that's when the disrespect starts. Because they start to view it as, well, I didn't want you here anyways. So I don't care about how I treat you because I don't care if you leave. Okay, great. You don't care if I leave, I'm gone. Make sure, I'm telling you, you only have a short life, Elizabeth, and any of the rest of you that are listening to this. Make sure you only make yourself present for people who acknowledge that they want you around. Because the people that acknowledge that they want you around will respect you, they will treat you well, they will be kind to you, they will speak to you properly and with respect. The people that tell you they don't want you around, they will disrespect you. 100%. So if a guy says this to you, you're gone immediately. Immediately. No, not even a conversation.
He says, I can't see myself being with you forever. We've been together for 4 months, and our relationship was under pressure due to the fact that he was an exchange student and he was going to be moving back to his country. And we were planning on doing long distance. I told...
Long distance with what end goal? That's the other thing. Obviously, I don't like long distance. You guys already know that. But it's also, when you do long distance with someone, there has to be an end goal. Meaning, if we do long distance, are we eventually going to get to a place in our relationship where it's no longer long distance? And let me be very clear. The goal can't be, if we do long distance for 5 years, maybe we'll get married and one of us will move to the other's country. No. The goal has to be, we're doing long distance, but you're already going to return back to my country or I'm going to return to yours, because based on where my life is going, like, we're going to eventually be in the same place. For example, long distance could be, oh, I'm in school across the country in California, but I'm really from Colorado. And so eventually, after I finish the next 2 years of my bachelor's degree, I'm gonna move back to Colorado, where I'm from. That's already where my life is going. That's already where I wanna work and build myself. So yes, we're dating. You live in Colorado. I'm currently right now in California, but eventually, after I graduate, I'm going to move back to Colorado and we will be in the same city or the same town, the same whatever. That's an example of long distance that will eventually return back to not being long distance, or let's say become short distance, however you want to describe it. When it's just, I'm moving back to my country and indefinitely, and I'm going to be here and that's where I'm going to grow my life, and you're in Denmark and you're going to be in your country and that's where you're going to live and you're going to grow your life. What's the goal here? What's the light at the end of the tunnel? Because if you have no business in his country and he doesn't really have any more business in your country, like, where are your lives taking you? Not in the same place. So what's the point of building a long distance relationship at that point?
We even saw his family and told them that we were going to do long distance. I had plane tickets to his brother's wedding in October. And those were flights that I booked. I asked him if I should book them after the first time he broke up with me. He's like, yeah, I want to do long distance. I want to be with you, baby, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, he's finally like, listen, I want to talk to you every day. I want to know what's going on with you. I want you to know what's going on with me. I want intimacy. I want your emotional support. I want to be exclusive, but you're not my girlfriend.
Okay. All right. Let me go take a stretch. Let me go take a stretch. Let me stretch for a bit. All right. This is how we're doing this today? That's how we're doing this, I guess. Okay. All right. Okay. That's how we're doing this today. That's how we're doing this today. Okay, we're going with foolishness today. All right. Okay. What the hell does that even mean? Is like the sentence of the week. Okay. I'm gonna stretch my legs, stretch my hamstrings. All right. All righty. Okay. Okay. I just need to take a second to process there. Let's try to recombobulate ourselves so we are not discombobulated. Okay. Let's do this again. Okay.
I want to know what's going on with you. I want you to know what's going on with me. I want intimacy. I want your emotional support. I want to be exclusive, but you're not my girlfriend.
He's a PhD student, isn't he? Yeah.
And I'm confused. I'm so confused. I'm like, do you want to
He's got a PhD in confusion for sure.
build this with me or not? And he's like, no, I don't want to be with you forever. I just can't see it. But then, like, one of the last times that he was at my place, he's like, I'm able to see it more and more. I'm like, okay, well, that's a good sign. But then I asked, like,
I'm able to see the idea of being with you more and more every day. You know, if you get on your knees and you slurp me off with the 2-hand twist, every time you extract semen from my pee-pee, I'm able to see it more and more every day that you are the woman for me. Every time you spread your legs wide open and I jackrabbit myself inside of you with my minuscule pencil pee-pee for 5 seconds and you don't even have a climax, I'm able to see it more and more every day, the possibility of us being together forever. Wow, so romantic.
more and more. I'm like, okay, well, that's a good sign. But then I asked, like, that question of, do you want to be with me, the person? And he's like, I can't see myself being with you forever. I should think we should break up. And then he comes back after this hiking trip with his PhD buddies one last time. He's like, the first things he does is he cries. He comes to the door. He knows that it's over and he's crying. And I comfort him and I'm like, ugh.
What the hell is this? Who the hell are you dating, Elizabeth? What type of PhD? Listen, after this show, you better DM me, deliver to me his name. I want to make sure I never get him I hope he not no doctor, no surgeon. Okay? I don't want him doing no surgery on me. This guy be going through emotional roller coasters like I don't even know. He's too unstable to be my doctor. He better not be checking out me or none of my family members. He better not be diagnosing me. I don't even want him reading any of my MRIs. Because the way he's on an emotional roller coaster, I can't trust him with nothing. Deliver me his name and the hospital he work at. I need to stay far away from there. Please.
Like, oh, the first things he does is he cries. He comes to the door. He knows that it's over and he's crying. And I comfort him and I'm like, oh, okay, I know you're sad. It's sad. He stays overnight and he knows that it's over. And
you're comforting this man for saying he doesn't want you. Like, how, this is so ridiculous. And I don't mean it like, Elizabeth, you're ridiculous. I'm just saying, like, how ridiculous of a man to even, like, be in his presence.
You're sad. It's sad. He stays overnight and he knows
Wait, why did you let him stay overnight? Okay.
It's over. And the bastard is like, do you want to cuddle? And I'm like, no, I don't want to cuddle. And I even asked him, like, before that, I was like, do you even think about me much? And he's like, not really. And that was...
Ah! You're gonna make me really mad. Elizabeth, I can't believe you didn't kick him out while you're having this conversation with him. This is insane. This is legitimately insanity. You're in the bed cuddling with him overnight after he came to your place from a PhD hike, crying about literally telling you he doesn't want to be with you. And then he has the audacity, like you're asking him, and then he has literally the audacity to just straight up tell you, yeah, I don't really think about you much. Why are you even housing this man?
I don't want to cuddle. And I even asked him, like, before that, I was like, do you even think about me much? And he's like, not really. And that was when it was like, something went off in my head, like, no. Anyways, so I kicked...
That's what spoke to you?
Kicked him out of my apartment. I said,
Thank
you have 15
you.
minutes to pack up your shit. And he's like, boom.
Everyone, give Elizabeth a round of applause. Just like when people don't do the right thing, we tell them it's wrong. We have to clap it up when people make good decisions. That was a good decision. I am glad you kicked his ass out. This ain't no sleepover. This ain't no hostel, okay? This ain't no Airbnb. Your ass getting out. The level of disrespect to come to you crying and then tell you that he don't even want to be with you. He don't think, get your ass out. Get your ass out. You be on the street. Sleep in a McDonald's or something. You can't give no damns. Take care of yourself. Go find one of your PhD buddies. Sleep in the hospital.
Something went off in my head, like, nah. Anyways, so I kicked him out of my apartment. I said, you have 15 minutes to pack up your shit. And he's like, but my clothes are still wet. And I'm like, I don't
Dry him off by running on the street.
care. You gotta leave. And I'm pretty sure he spent the next 7 hours sitting in an airport by himself. I am just wondering, I've got no contact with him. He says he won't contact me, but will he contact me? Does he actually not care? Is he thinking about me? Is there a chance that he would reconsider? Not that I would take him back. And yes, my name is Liz.
Great way to end the question. It doesn't matter. Elizabeth, it doesn't matter. The reason it doesn't matter, whether or not he's thinking about you, irrelevant. You're not going to be with him. Whether or not he wants to be with you, irrelevant. You're not going to be with him. Whether or not he wants to come back and have a conversation, irrelevant. You're not going to be with him. After this level of disrespect, there is no coming back. Okay? You're moving your life on and you're using this as an experience of what to never do ever again. Which, like I said earlier, when a guy tells you he doesn't want you, don't make him show you. Because trust me, these men, if you wait around too long, they will show you that they don't want you. okay? And when they show you that they don't want you, it'll be a lot more painful. So you did the right thing by kicking his ass out. Go run on the street with your arms out, dry yourself off, okay? Sit in the airport, think about what you've done. You've been a bad boy. But after that, block him, okay? Don't worry about whether he's gonna hit you up. It's done, okay? Because I don't want you, because this is what can happen sometimes. The ego hit that you might take from him, from feeling a little bit rejected by him, might cause you to what I call chase your losses, which is you're hoping for the day in which he'll message you and acknowledge he really wants you and he thinks you're sexy, beautiful, hot, and he wants to marry you. And you're hoping to use that to be able to acknowledge and validate yourself that, yeah, you know, I'm really what he wanted at the end of the day. Forget it. Move your life forward. Don't even be looking or waiting for his validation, so that you can actually start building positive, good relationships that don't have this level of disrespect. Because this level of disrespect is just on a different level that there is no takebacks. There is no like, oh, we can figure this out and maybe in the future sometime. Initially, I thought, okay, maybe he's a PhD student, he got his life together. No, there's no takebacks here. You're gonna move on, and you're gonna move on for good, and you're not gonna concern yourself with anything that he's doing. And in fact, I want you to not only block him on social media, block his number, and delete any content you have on your phone or computer of him. Because again, just like our other previous message, there is no redeeming qualities of this relationship that you should even need to remember it by or keep memories of. This should be just one of those things that you chalk up to, hey, you know what? I made some mistakes in the past. I got with some guys that I shouldn't have. I let things go on longer than they should have. I took disrespect that I shouldn't have, but I would never let that happen again. Now that I'm aware, now that I'm watching Tomisin's show, now that I understand what I did wrong in the previous situation, I will never let that happen again. I will never even allow that level of disrespect to get reached. Okay? Are we on the same page, Liz? I hope so. Okay. Let's go on to our next question here. Oh, that one took a lot out of me. Let's go to Jane here, 31 from United Kingdom.
My potential boyfriend set up the profile picture running. I suppose because I have my last public post about also running. Isn't it weird? We're not together. Sometimes when he sees me passing is scared, sometimes ignore me, or sees but not saying anything. We don't text or talk. Is he worth giving a...
Sorry, you said he put up your potential boyfriend set up the profile picture running? What do you mean profile picture? Are you talking about on a dating app, Jane?
Boyfriend set up the profile picture running. I suppose because I have my last public post about also running. Isn't it weird? We're not together.
He put up his own profile picture of him running because you had your last public post about running, okay?
Sometimes when he sees me passing is scared, sometimes ignore me, or sees but not saying anything. We don't text or talk. Is he worth giving a chance?
So you're asking me if he's worth giving a chance based on setting up his profile picture of him running and you posted a picture of you running? No. If he's not asking you out on a romantic date and expressing the fact that he thinks you're interesting and saying based on his interest in you, he wants to get to know you by asking you out on a romantic date, at least a dinner date, do not concern yourself with anything else that he's doing. What are you supposed to do with him changing his profile picture? Do you expect me to say that you should then DM him? I will never say that. Do you expect me to say that you should then approach him? I would never say that. So all you can do is allow him the space to come to you. And if he doesn't, move forward with your life. Assume that that means his interest isn't as deep or as high as you anticipated it to be. And that's okay. You will be with a man who actually is interested in you. Very interested in you. Okay? Let's go on to our next question here. This is from Rachel, who is 30 and 80.
After friend-zoning a guy a while ago, I ended up regretting it when I realized he actually had a lot of the qualities I wanted in my life. But by the time I came back around, he rejected me. Then, quite recently, he came back into my life. And now I honestly don't know what to do. I really like him and I feel like he likes me too. But I don't know how to get him to want something more without pushing too hard, since he's still cautious or becoming bored. I'm trying to keep things exciting and natural, while also not coming across as desperate or like I'm trying too hard. And we also live in different cities. We've had sex since reconnecting, and I can definitely feel there's still something between us. But I'm wondering what could actually make this move forward into something more serious. Basically, I'm trying to figure out how to make him want to choose me again without losing myself or making the whole thing feel forced.
Oh boy. Let's start from the beginning here, okay? In you saying that you guys started off as this was friends?
After friend zoning a guy a while ago, I ended up regretting it when I realized he actually had a lot of the qualities I wanted in my life. But by the time I came back around, he rejected me.
So where did you guys have sex in this process? You friend zoned him, and then all of a sudden you came back around and then he rejected you. So how did this turn into even sex? That's where I'm kind of confused. So you guys have been doing this back and forth. I mean, he already rejected you. So then my confusion is, okay, let's boil this down and make this simple. It seems like what you're struggling with is a guy that you've already slept with, and now you're realizing in the process of you already sleeping with him, you guys didn't really do a thing beforehand where you set the expectation of why you're even doing this in the first place. And now you're trying to get him to want to be with you seriously after you feel like you've lost most of your leverage and power by sleeping with him. What do you think I'm going to say? This is a waste of your time. Okay? Complete waste of your time. You are not going to be able to convince a man who you've already lost your leverage. I don't want to say you've lost your power to make it sound bad, but a lot of your ability to say, these are my expectations, you better meet these expectations if you want access to me, is basically gone because he's already gotten access to you. Now, the only thing you can do is say, okay, well, you're not going to be able to sleep with me anymore if you don't meet these standards or expectations, right? And I'm not saying, let me be very clear, I'm not saying sit him down and have a conversation with him about that. I'm saying literally just do not respond to him, do not answer him unless he's going to take a relationship serious with you and you don't ask him to do that. Like, unless he's going to hit you up on some, hey, let's go out on a date, I want to hang out with you, spend some time with you, da-da-da-da-da. If he's not doing that and he's just hitting you up on some, what are you doing? Oh, you trying to come over? You trying to, go for a drive? You trying to, come over to my place, I'll go over to yours? If that's all he's going to hit you up on, just don't even bother responding and let him figure out on his own why you're not responding. Because if he really wanted you, he would approach you on something different other than just getting access to your body. But chances are he won't do that because he's probably not that interested in doing that because he hasn't even done that up until this point, which is the problem with the oxymoron of you don't classify, organize, and define the relationship first. You sleep with the guy, and then after you sleep with the guy, you're trying to define the relationship after sleeping with him and go backwards and do the order of operations in the opposite way. Because now you're probably stressed over the fact that the relationship is not defined, and now you're going to try and get him to define it, get him to agree to something that he never agreed to in the first place, even before sleeping with you. But now that you feel you've lost your leverage, you want that control and that power back. It doesn't work that way, Rachel. What you have to understand is the decision starts at the beginning. In going into your relationships and saying, I want this out of my relationships. It's the exact same reason why I always advise all of you beautiful women to never, ever, ever explore any type of relationship or friends with benefits when you feel like you're not looking for anything serious. The moment you genuinely feel like you're not looking for anything serious, do not even have conversations with men. I really mean that. Of course, you'll have your friends and your family and stuff like that. But I mean, don't go on dates. Don't hang out with men. Don't vibe with men. Don't text them casually on an ongoing basis. Only worry about yourself if you're not looking for anything serious. When you're not looking for anything serious and then you entertain a guy and you're enjoying
Basically,
the process of...
I'm trying to figure out how to make him want to choose me again.
She's trying to interject. And you're enjoying the process of entertaining him and spending time with him and hanging out with him. What will happen is you'll get to a point where you'll say, this is so much fun, and I've been having so much fun. I've now transitioned from not wanting anything serious to now wanting something serious specifically with you because I've been having so much fun. And then what will happen is the guy that you've been letting him have fun with you and letting him have fun inside you for free will be like, wait a second, I didn't agree to that. I agreed to the initial you who was the version of you that wanted to not have anything too seriously. That's what I agreed to. That's why I am here. You are now trying to bait and switch me and go from you're not taking it that seriously, it's not that serious, the relationship is just, fun, to now being something serious when he's gonna say, I never agreed to that. That's not why we did this in the first place. And you're gonna be looking like Boo Boo the Fool because all your negotiating power is gone. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just trying to tell you the real of how these dynamics work. When you have the negotiating power, which is at the beginning, because a guy is approaching you, coming to you, I want you, I desire you, I want to be with you, that's when you get to set your standards and expectations and say, meet these if you want access to me. When you give him that access and you give it to him for nothing, and then you try to say afterwards, meet these expectations, he's going to laugh in your face. So moving forward from this and learning from this to not make the same mistake again is the only way to get a positive result out of this. Because really and truthfully, I don't believe anything positive is coming from building a strategy on how to get a man who's already gotten this access to you to now all of a sudden agree to something that he never agreed to in the first place. Okay? All right. That is the show for today. I know a lot of you had a lot of different questions for me. Don't worry. If you had a question for me, because I see there's a bunch actually in the queue here, I will answer your question tomorrow on the show. You guys know I'm more reliable now with going live. So I'll answer your question on tomorrow's show. So make sure you're tuned in for tomorrow's show if you submitted a question and you want me to answer it there as well. Okay, tomorrow's show will be about, it's a surprise what tomorrow's show will be about, but we will do all of our amazing segments and we'll enjoy our time together. And we will see each other. It'll either be, I'll either go live at 12 noon or I'll go live at 2 p.m. It's going to be one of the two, but I'll decide here in a little bit, okay? I will see all of you beautiful people tomorrow in the afternoon, sometime between 12 noon and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? I love you so, so much. By the way, if you want to join my private community, the link is in my description. If you want to ask me a private question, the link is also in my description, and also coaching is in my description. I love you all so much. Bye for now.